everybody, and welcome. I was going to say the Moon Maze 2 podcast, but it's not. It's the Fluffenhammer podcast. It's me, it's Andy, Decayed Andy. With me, a man girthy and veiny. It's Big D. Hello, Big D.
It's a bit harsh. I'm trying to lose weight. Not very well, but again, it's on the list.
So sweaty, ready to impregnate, as all the Gene Sealer cults do. And next to him is the poor Imperial Guard, ready to be infected. It's Mr. White. Hello, Mr. White.
I also have veins.
Oh. How many?
15.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought
I'm
anything
flexing
above
12
10.
of them right now. if I try and do 13 or 14, I pass out. So
I don't know why, but from the sounds of things of how editing's been going for you, I imagine some of those veins in your forehead have been like working overtime recently. Is that fair to say?
Some of them have been working the keyboard.
Oh. My God. Well, we're here today to talk about the Armageddon box set reveals and one other story as well. No Mr. George, no Mr. Gruff today because life has gone in the way of their things. So we've got the B team, which is me, Mr. White, and Mr. Big D.
Huzzah.
B for badass, right?
Ultimate badasses?
B for bald.
I'm not bald. I'm molding, but I'm not balding.
Give it time, gents. Time will
That's
conquer
true.
all.
It's
Look,
true.
My head is rising dramatically through the hair, not the other way. Not the hair's not receding. It's a very distinct division of how things are going in my realm, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh my God. As long as you don't let the hair consume you and become cousin it.
Well,
hang on. Weren't you actually cousin it on one of our old shows for the Addams
I
family?
was, yeah. I think for did you not put me in as cousin it for the Lost Boys?
Yes, that was it. Yes.
Cousin
Sorry,
it for
Andy.
the
Sorry, we're throwing you off topic here. My apologies.
Oh yes, because again, very on topic as usual. So it's perfectly fine. We're just rolling with the punches. I guess the first thing we're going to talk about is the made to order stuff that kind of popped up today. Yesterday.
Bit of a surprise. This one popped up today in the news.
Who are these people, Big D? Because I don't recognize them, and I thought to myself, you know what would have been better if these were Mordians, but these aren't Mordians.
No, these are the Vostrian Firstborn. By all accounts, the most recent non-plastic Imperial Guard unit GW have made.
How recent?
I think like 2006, as we put in the article. They dropped them for the Fall of Medusa campaign, and I remember when they came out, it was a bit of a okay, because this was after we'd had the plastic Cadians come into, we'd had Steel Legion, and these guys didn't really fit the vibe of all the other regiments, or how the Guard would be really, their look. They're very much based on John Blanche's concept artwork for the Imperial Army from back in the day. And in fairness, they're actually really cool in that regard because they are a nice throwback.
What style of army are they meant to be a reference to?
Well, they have little bearskin covers on their helmets. They're kind of leaning a bit into like Imperial Russian, but not quite.
Because that's Valhallans, right? The Valhallans are kind of that side of
Valhallans are Soviet Russians. They're right. World War II Russians, the great coats and all that stuff. These are supposed to be more, not so well off, but they're the army that's the Tsar's paying for and wants to see the results in how they look, sort of thing. So they have that vibe. So lots of tall bearskin shakos on their helmets, really nice ornate armor, guns that look ridiculous but are still kind of nifty, and the bravest banner bearer in the universe, because he's in a 40k universe and he's fighting bare-chested with just a saber and a big stick. That's, and he also has the most glorious moustache of this entire collection, which is saying something. Because
I wish they had some better images of them, because they've got a couple of closer up images, but then specifically like the command squad's quite a small image, which you can't get a big image, which is like a bummer.
It's a bit of a shame, that one, but I'm glad they came out, because this is a bunch that will be useful for a lot of folks. So people who want to have to use them in Horus Heresy instead of Solar Auxilia, or as because there are options for doing non-auxilia mortal forces in Horus Heresy, and these are perfect because that's what they were concept designed for. And if you want a bit of flash for your guard, they are kind of dripping in detail, this lot.
You say they're perfect for like an alternative, but are they? And I say that purely because of how much these are probably going to cost, because they're most likely metal from what I've seen in the article, which I've seen some people say it's a shame they weren't made from resin, which I think has been the first time I've ever seen that. To be honest. But I guess I understand why, because if you want to like tweak them, it's easier to tweak resin than it is metal with customization. But I prefer metal personally.
Honestly, if that's the issue people have about being in metal, then they need more practice, because metal, yes, it can be a bit tricky to work with, but
don't hold back, D.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just get good. Just get better.
Look, I drilled out the helmet on a metal Grey Knight Terminator to replace it with a Van Saar head, and did all sorts of other weird things to make an Inquisitor.
You just back in my day, you realise.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love working in plastic and resin. It is easier, but it's just a case of revising your approach to doing things, and either learning or relearning some older skill sets.
Yeah,
these are mainly the sergeants are the ones that are going to be easiest to do conversion work to, because most of them have a pistol out that you can trim away and swap it out for something else. That's the easy one. If you want to replace, and I say this as someone who did kit bash an entire platoon of metal Cadians to have the updated lasgun barrels and magazines, so pot kettle territory here. But no one in their right mind is going to want to try and change the lasguns on the Vostrians. You're buying them for this particular aesthetic.
Are they one model, one part, or are they like multi-part?
They're all one piece.
They're
they're pretty much like the original Metal Guard range for 7th edition, which were, with very few exceptions, majority single piece miniatures. I've had a few Vostrians in the past. I have the Grenadier still around here somewhere, but they're nice sculpts. The main issue I had with them at the time they came out is that I just didn't really gel with them for how the Guard looked for me. But thinking about them now, I would quite happily have a platoon just for a bit of variety. They're a fun side project,
Well, design-wise, what do you think of these, Mr. White? Do they kind of tickle your personal like aesthetic, or are you like, what do you think of them visually?
I think they're really effective. I mean, a lot of it is obviously the paint scheme that they've used on them. The things like the banner. I agree with you here as well. Like that banner man is fantastic. He looks incredible, but you're kind of squinting to see more detail about him because the kind of banner's overtaking him in the photo that they've given us. But the thing that really interests me is the heavy weapons teams and just the realism of the poses. I know it sounds odd, but the top one of those 3 heavy weapons and the guy sort of lying forward, that is as close to realism as I've seen in a Games Workshop model. I know it sounds really odd, but it looks really nice. I love the aesthetic. I am intrigued though. So what's the state? And again, apologies, folks. I'm not too knowledgeable on all of this. I'm not going to hide that. But in terms of GW producing metal miniatures, is this by far the minority of their lines now in this format? Because I am surprised that they're sort of rolling this out when we know they've invested so much in the plastic and they've still got the resin on the side. Is this them trying to make use of the metal facilities that they've got?
I think some of it is a bit of that. Some of it, I think, is they know that there is stuff that people still have an interest in, and rather than keeping everything in production at all times, which is, they used to do that, or they used to have a system where if something was out of stock, they would just dig out the molds and spin up a new run if someone ordered something. That's not really a viable approach to things. So doing it as made to order means that they can just kind of go in and do exactly what they need. But they have. It's funny because Old World, almost all of that line, the characters and whatnot, there are characters that I remember only came out in Finecast resin originally.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually being done in metal this time because they were actually designed for metal, but the Finecast system was designed to replace the metal. And so they translated a lot of designs over, and some which were in the pipeline to go into production kind of missed metal entirely, just went straight to Finecast. Finecast itself, they've pretty much phased out from my understanding. Most of the time, if you buy resin now, it will be kind of Forge World style resin.
Yeah.
So overall, a better quality of resin, even if there may be some issues with the molding itself. But that's the nature of how it works as a hand cast resin process. Takes a lot of skill to do it. But they have been deploying it with a bit of finesse. So again, with Old World, a lot of kits that have come back, if they were big war machines, a lot of them, they've been doing them majority resin to make them lighter, because they were quite difficult to work with back in the day.
It still is weird, though, to spread it like that, though, isn't it? If you think about it, because why wouldn't you just do it all in resin then?
Well, the thing is, resin's expensive, and because it's
versus
a more
metal.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Well, it can depend on the resin you're using. Finecast, the intent was that it was supposed to be a cheaper material than metal, and
well, that was true.
Well, yes.
well, that went well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the COcast resin, for example, is metal casting suffers because you're reliant on the cost of metal, and as we've seen in the last 15 years, metal prices just have kept going up and up and up. So a lot of people have translated either to resin casting or to 3D printing. In the case of this stuff, I think it's more a case that, one, these were made of metal originally, and they know that people kind of prefer some of this stuff in the format it was released in originally.
Yeah.
But for resin molds tend to wear out quicker than metal ones.
That makes sense.
Well, all the ones used for metal casting. Although you can get much more detail out of a resin mold, because of the pressures they're put under, they die quicker. So that's one of the reasons why historically Forge World stuff has always been more expensive, and sometimes when stuff's gone out of stock, it's been out of stock for a while, so you may have had to completely redo the molds. So yeah.
Well, the next question is, how much do you think this set is going to cost? Because it's a pretty big set. It's effectively a Star collecting set.
It is. We were having a chat about this in Discord earlier, and Darren managed to spot. He pulled up someone's receipt that they posted from when these last went made to order in 2018, and it was about 25 quid for a squad of infantry for 10 models.
Oh, just for 10?
Yeah. And honestly, in 2018, accounting for inflation, I mean, I remember back in the 90s when they first did the metal infantry guard infantry sets, they were around £10 to £15 a pop for 10 guardsmen, including the heavy weapons team. And what this guy had on his receipt was the same. It was a 10-man squad, including the heavy weapons team. So 25 quid compared to 10, 15 over 20 years later. That, if you account for inflation, that's not too far off. And honestly, a lot of the made-to-order stuff GW have done in recent years has kind of matched what it should be inflation-wise. And sometimes it's actually been cheaper than you'd expect. I don't expect that in this case, because for Vostrian, it's going to be a high demand.
So what do you get? What's your guess
I'm,
for?
I'm going. I'm going to guess 130 for the platoon. Probably 35 for an infantry squad. Maybe 30 for the command squad. Maybe 25 for them. The 3-man blisters probably 10 to 15, and maybe another 25 for the heavy weapons team.
Oof.
And it's kind of weird how they're doing this as well, because the command squad isn't a legal unit in either the platoon or on its own, because it's only 4 guys. It's the officer and 3 bodyguards, and you need a 4th bodyguard going there, because normally it's been a special weapon. For heavy weapons, you get 3 las cannons in the platoon, but then if you wanted heavy bolters or the mortars, you have to buy 3 of the heavy weapon squad box.
Oh my god!
Yeah, unless they're actually going to be doing those individually.
I don't think they do them individually.
Yeah.
Right? That's
and then you're going to wind up with 6 las cannons, which is a little bit of overkill.
Okay.
Could be useful, but I mean, given current rule of 3, you can only have 3 heavy weapons teams. So
can I ask then? Is there a chance that this is a release more for painters than gamers?
Possible.
It's a very odd thing, but it just feels. I mean, look, I know I'm not naive enough to go, oh, GW have only done this because of something else that's happened recently. No, this would have been in the pipeline for a very long time, like everything else that GW announces.
Yeah.
It's just that this kind of, it feels like they could quite easily, after they finish with this run, do another old regiment and another old regiment, and then it would sort of tide over a certain section of the community until you got a certain iron-based.
I don't think they'd be that consistent. The made-to-order stuff, at least from my perspective, Big D, you can throw your opinion in here as well, seems to just be anywhere, any which way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it can be. I mean, in fairness...
It kind of makes sense, because they almost sort of kind of link up to up-and-coming proper releases. Like, this vaguely makes sense to me, because I see this as very, very lightly linked to, like, the Armageddon box set. Like, they're not going to do the Steel Legion, so they kind of do this instead. So it's like, it's not perfect. There's not like one-to-one, like, yeah, this is 100% knits together, but, you know, it would make more sense doing this than, say, like, doing a Hive Tyrant, a Metal Hive Tyrant from Second Ed or something like that. This kind of works.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, in fairness to them, they have done made-to-orders for pretty much the entire Guard range from Second Ed onwards over the last 10 years. And I'm pretty sure they kicked it off with this Vostrian MTO in 2018.
They didn't do the Iron Praetorians, did they? The Zulu guys. Yeah. No, the Zulu.
The Praetorians. No, but they were always a bit of a weird one, because they were a limited edition box in its own right. You couldn't really buy them separately, or not for very long.
They should be. They should. It's been 1 or 2 years since the original release.
Yeah,
they should probably try and put them out again, because I'd buy them.
I mean, I think that would generate some goodwill as well from from good chunks of the community.
I mean, hell, it's people. There's actually I think it's actually official art now by GW of what a modern version of Praetorian would look like, and they basically used the old plastic Cadian body design with that pith helmet, and there's some artwork like that. So the armor's in white, but otherwise you've got the red coats and the black/navy trousers and the bone pith helmet, and it's one of the conversion kits for almost every company that does third-party Imperial Guard bits is pith helmets.
Oh yeah, it's an easy sell, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's so simple, especially with the current. I mean, hell, ever since they shifted to the ball and socket joint, and it's been easy. The new ones are a deeper socket, but again, a lot of companies they've adjusted to make them fit as well. So it's a tough one, because I think because it is so rooted in particular aesthetic, which historically, which can be problematic for people. I don't know if GW would approach it. I'd like to see them do it, but I don't know if they would from a business point of view.
Maybe, yeah. That makes sense. The one I'm surprised they didn't release alongside this is like an option of either both or one of the metal Yarriks from the past to go alongside.
Yeah, very nice.
It's weird that they haven't done that. Maybe that'll happen in the future, but I think it'd be nice to give people like, hey, do you want to get original Yarrik, the second version of the Yarrik, to go along with your new Yarrik? I think that'd be
that's a fair point, actually. I mean,
do you want old Yarrik, old Yarrik, old dead then live then old but still old but live Yarrik?
I'm still waiting for them to put him his brain in a redempted dreadnought. I'm still waiting for Mecha Yarrik.
You know what they'll do then? They'll end up having a model of the mecha being completely rusted, falling apart, and then Yarrick just being put back into another old man's body because he's even outlasted the machine. He's that old.
Yeah, they've cloned him, but they've cloned him old.
And they've cloned him wrong, so he actually has crab feet as well as a crab hand.
Oh my god. It's fine. He wants it this way, right? Yeah.
There's one silly observation that I have that I can't not say. So just above the heavy weapons, you've got the guy who's stood on, we're going to call it tactical gun barrel.
Oh, yes.
For the life of me, it looks almost like some sort of jet speeder kind of hoverboard type thing. And I'm just thinking that a fusion of this style with sort of real like steampunk tech would actually be really, really nice. And in fact, when I saw the article on this, literally the first thing, I don't know which model it was, but for a moment I actually thought it was Votan's stuff. I know that sounds really odd just because I don't have a history with these guys, but the aesthetic felt like almost like the what I'd imagine the 40k version of the squats in Fantasy.
Oh, the Caradron.
Yes. It was almost like a militarized kind of version of that in 40k, but obviously not. But yeah, it's really nice. It's just.
Do you think that was because of like specifically the colors of red and gold and the masks?
Absolutely. A lot of certain features just really popped out to me straight away, and I was just like, oh, I really like that. Even right down to like the heavy weapons where you've got I imagine it's just the mortar, but it's just the way that the stand and the tripod is kind of front and center and just looks really sort of funky and cool, and I really like that sort of stuff. But it's definitely the colors that got it for me straight away.
Something about red and gold is very steampunky, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what made me associate red and gold with steampunk. Maybe it was one of the like BioShock games, maybe. I'm not sure. But whenever I think of red and gold and then I see like gears, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's also as well, a lot of the time they use old red British uniforms as the basis for some of the steampunky designs.
That's a fair point as well.
Shall we talk about Armageddon then?
Yes.
Oh, we probably should, shouldn't we?
Mr. D, you wanted to talk specifically about, what's this first one? About the book, the Imperator book and operations.
Yeah.
And
I just found
Mr. White can't really talk too much about these, but we can talk about the artwork. But you'll need to tell us what we found inside of these books, or what can be found at least.
Well, I found it quite interesting that first off, we're getting the lore book hardback separate to everything else. That's
almost
kind
like
of a bit
we've always wanted, right?
Yeah. I mean, this box it's calling back to the second edition box in a lot of ways. That one famously had the 3 rule books in. You had the armory, the rule book, and the lore book. And then this one doesn't have a separate armory book, but you do have the rule book and the lore separately, which, man, after what, 3rd edition onwards, so nearly 30 years now of 300-page rule books, most hardback. It's like, finally, I don't have to kill myself just to bring my rules or the lore to an event. I can split them up, and they're so much easier to handle.
And I mean, secondary market-wise, depending if you want just the lore or you just want the rules for that game, you'll be able to pick those up on the secondary market, because I'd be more interested in picking up the lore book than it would be the rule book in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, from a sales perspective, it'll be damn so easy to post for bloody things.
And they'll make triple the amount of money as well, potentially.
Yeah, little things like that. But no, I just like the fact that they've put this in this format, so it's it's 100 pages of lore, lots of artwork, lots of pictures. I've said it's really kind of going to go to town and give you. It's following right on from the current Yarrick release that comes up this weekend as we're recording this.
Oh, okay.
For Armageddon. So that's nice that that one leads right into the other. So you're getting a bit of payoff to that. Not straight away, but it's imminent. So.
And you tell me the Yarrick's already been nerfed rules-wise.
Yeah, that was funny. I mean, to be fair, his rules were quite good, and Guard really didn't need that good as the rules.
Will his rules be in the Armageddon book? And if they are in the Armageddon book, which rules will they be? The modern rules or the unnerfed Super Yarrick one?
Right, here's a funny thing. For the last... Basically, none of the current Cratchit campaign books have had rules for the models released alongside them in the books.
Okay.
The rules have always been a free download on Warcom, which I still find kind of mind-blowing that they've done that, because you don't expect it from Games Workshop, let's be honest.
No, it's about time, though.
Yeah. Admittedly, the rest of your rules are still gated behind needing a code from the Codex, which is still annoying. But the fact that they know that things can change, so they're putting in stuff like, so you have the boarding action rules in Titus, the Apocalypse rules in Storm of Iron, the Crucible of Champions rules in Maelstrom, and the Spearhead stuff in the Armageddon book with Yarrick. So they're giving you new gameplay modes, and they're giving you new detachments. But even the detachments for rules are being put out online, so and updated, because again, some of those have changed before the book even comes out. But these books have been more about the story and the narrative than the actual rules of the characters. The characters exist in it and they're described and whatnot, but their availability is kind of separate to. They're not forcing you to buy these books just to be able to play the characters, and that's very refreshing. So I do appreciate that, and also the fact that GW are being so quick on the mark to adjust things, because years past they really weren't. I again, not to back in my day, but I still remember when it took almost a whole edition for an army just to get an update or an FAQ to make them playable. Now you get it within, hell, sometimes you'll get it within a month or two, or maybe 6 months at most.
Well, I think that's also to facilitate like tournaments, right? Because they've definitely been pushing more so the competitive side of Games Workshop than they had in the past, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they're keeping an eye on that sort of data much more closely as well.
Yeah.
So that I know some people may take issue, but aiming for like a 52% win rate for as many armies as possible, that is kind of a good place to be in, because I think that gives you it does mean that everything's balanced. No one army should dominate.
No.
So, and it means that you shouldn't have people jump into the hot new net list as often. Still happens, but
I was going to say from the business side of things, you kind of want that, but from like a healthy game environment, you probably don't want to do that, because that'll push them to, like you say, it'll push people out of the hobby who don't want to kind of chase the meta.
I'm being honest, a lot of people who play the game that way, doing the net listing thing, a lot of the time they're buying the army secondhand anyway. They're buying stuff to build the army as cheaply and as quickly as possible, or as the saying goes, printer goes brr. So they're not really the people who would be buying more than just the rules from GW in the first place. I mean, they might buy a box that's a particularly good deal, but It's not everyone. I'm not saying all competitive games like, but there's a particular subset of them that they've cropped up in a lot of games over the years. War Machine was bad for it, and with the increasing tournament focus with GW stuff, there's been more than a bit of that coming in. But it's good that they are kind of finding ways to correct where the rules have encountered possibilities they didn't consider, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, meta chasers are in everything. Video games, board games, any kind of thing that Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards, anything that has a tournament competitive aspect to it. There'll always be the people that just want to win and will do anything they possibly can to win, which is, it's not the way I would want to play a game, but, fair enough to them, I suppose.
No. And the same applies to sometimes you'll find folks who'll look at a list and go, well, I like this idea. How can I be really stupid with it?
Yeah.
For example, I have double digits of Space Wolf Dreadnoughts because you can take that many Dreadnoughts in Space Wolves.
Is that really the reason?
Well,
is it not just because you love Space Wolves and you want all of the Dreadnoughts? Just because?
I'm a Space player, but also...
Be honest, you're among friends.
Yeah, just admit your obsession. Admit your problems.
There is that, but I also just love the idea of taking an all Dreadnought list to a tournament one time, just to... But I'm the weirdo. I took an all infantry guard army to a grand tournament back in the early 2000s.
I hear that can actually be pretty effective now.
Oh yeah, now then, no.
Yeah.
But putting 100 models on the table when your opponent had maybe 30 at most was a...
I bet they fucking loved you as you took forever to set up, and then every turn they were just waiting.
There was a little bit of that, yes.
And after 25 minutes, D had shot 3,200 times, and he had hit 14.
Oh, he might have hit a lot. He just might have not done any damage to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, neither of you are wrong there.
Yeah, they are God.
Yeah.
Oh, God of the past.
I like the fact that they, as you say as well, they're doing this more for the gamers. But you also, a large chunk of this is obviously the orcs. And the orcs are pure just like luck with the roll of a dice.
Yeah.
And so it's a case of, yes, there will be some people that will game this, and as Andy said as well, they'll chase the meta. But then there are the orc players who just don't give a fudge. They're just going to roll it. And even if they die, they'll just have a laugh. The one thing I'm not so keen on is the fact that this book, there is no chance of getting this book outside of the box set.
Have they said that?
They've said that. They said that on the actual broadcast, and they say that in the article. And the problem is that if you've bought the box set, you're going to want to keep the book because you're going to want to keep every bit of value. Now, if you really hate lore, which I don't maybe have an allergic reaction to the type of paint used on the cover, but maybe you'll get rid of it, and you'll do quite well out of getting rid of it. But I don't see a lot of copies of this floating around on the open market because most people are just going to keep the whole thing.
You would have thought so,
that, but I follow quite a few sellers on eBay and the bit sites, and at least one bit site I follow has already got a page up with all the contents of Armageddon separated out unit by unit, item by item.
But I mean, that's a specific store, though, right? Rather than what Mr. White is suggesting, which is more an individual.
But also a lot of the bit sellers, a lot of the places on eBay, they'll be buying multiple boxes and breaking them down into each squad and whatnot and selling all the components. So there will be stock of this book going separately. And I mean, I've done it for a couple of the kill teams. I missed out on the main release. But then I went on eBay after release and I got the card content, the books and everything for a song, dirt cheap. Because
I'm not surprised.
They're more focused on selling the miniature side, the plastic.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm probably the one widow who has been buying kill team stuff because I kind of really dig having all the rules to hand. The miniatures are kind of a bonus for me, to be fair.
Well, I imagine a lot of those people are wanting the miniatures for 40k rather than to play kill team. So it's I don't want this tat. Yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah,
it's like people buying multiple sets of this for the orcs. And I'm going, yeah, yes. Oh, some more Space Marines. Yeah, great. Yeah, I might accidentally. Oh, anyone want these?
Please take them. I do think it's weird that this isn't being sold separately, because whenever I think to like previous rule books, and obviously this isn't a rule book specifically, I'd argue this is maybe more important. You'd always find the law book or the rule book on the shelf separately from the box. So to not have that available to just someone who's came in, because the box is not going to be like second edition or third edition where it's up on the shelves for a huge amount of time, right? I would presume
this is for box, but yeah, for proper. What have they been doing now? Where you have the starter, the commander, and the legend of the Apocalypse editions, which kind of scale up. And actually, it's funny. I saw one person complain in one of Warcom's Facebook posts, but there's no dice and no measuring sticks. And Warcom said, "It's not a starter box, mate. It's a launch box." Yeah. People, everyone who buys this should have plenty of dice already. We're not going to give them any more, which I know the pain of as well. Don't know about you guys. I've got bags of damn things. But no, there will be proper starter editions of this game. And it is weird because with Leviathan, the Leviathan Crusade book was in the core rulebook for that release. But then when it came separately, they did a separate release of the Leviathan Crusade. And then the 10th edition rulebook was a separate book without that Crusade element in it. So it is kind of odd that this book is not going to be available in any other format. Very, very strange, that.
Just thinking, you mentioned that this won't have the dice or anything like that, and that's maybe a good thing. I think it's going to be strange then that if someone new goes into GW store, I would assume the staff are not going to recommend this box. They'll be telling them to get a different box, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they'll have to actively tell those customers, no, don't get this because it doesn't have everything you need to play the game.
Yeah, and fair play to at least to my local GW store. The guys in there, I've seen them do that when someone's looked at a product. They've checked just to make sure it is what they're definitely after, and if it's got all the stuff in it that they need. Which it's not something that people often think of. I mean, if this box is on the shelf and as a new player you're going in, you might assume that it would have that stuff in it. So I do understand that, but I suspect this box will sell out very quickly and only be available for not very long.
Which I generally don't agree with, as usual, because that's got the FOMO aspect to it.
That is a real shame to it. That
it's again, it's marketing tactic. I get it, but it always feels just kind of gross and a bit slimy.
Yeah,
a bit cheap as a practice.
Yeah,
like they should leave some of these up on the shelves. If anything, the hype around this. Yeah, we'll get people looking to the starter boxes, and if they like the starter boxes, they'd want to progress. And since you've got so much in one box, this is not just an addition for a fanatical fan. This is a great thing for somebody who's got a starter box, who's done a couple of models, who's looking to go, right, I want to make that investment into something bigger, but not clamoring on the first day, as Andy said, with this FOMO thing, which I'm sorry, it's just like, look, you're big enough, GW. Don't keep leaning on FOMO. Just keep a quality line.
I mean, for one thing, I think we can definitely say for this one, they will have so many copies of this box made.
That's true.
This is what they've been focusing production on probably for the last year.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of stores have mentioned how other product they've not had massive allocations, and we're talking like single digit allocations for quite expected products. I don't think there's going to be a problem with this. I suspect this will be a case of, does it sell out in the first 10 minutes on pre-order launch day? Sure. Here's another allocation for you. You can open up a new batch of pre-orders.
Yeah, they just need to be nice and honest about a quick forward to say like, okay, if you've missed this allocation, don't worry, the next allocation will be, and then you throw down whatever date, or at least you say like in a few months' time, or you make it very clear like, don't worry if you've missed this, you don't need to rush to eBay and buy it secondhand, which will probably be a thing. You can just wait until this date, and
Absolutely,
or close enough, like second quarter of Christmas, etc., etc.
Yeah, and I mean, the number of the online stores that are already sending out emails, letting people know if they've got a register of interest going, so they can you can put your name down, and on launch day they'll go through it and just let you know when it's available to pre-order. So
it'd be interesting as well to see the attitude of some of these online stores, because in the last year we've seen some stores going to quite extreme lengths to undercut or overprice. Or,
oh, really?
Yeah, there's been a few little incidents with people trying to like offer it cheaper than the expected price just to get a bit of headway or just to make some headlines.
To their usual like 10% discount, or like more so than they
I think it was more so. I think there was one individual seller with one of the recent boxes that offered it at a bit of a discount and almost broke ranks with the amount that they were going for.
Yeah, I think the Saturnine box, there was at least one seller, one store, but they knocked it down to, was it bang on 100, just under 100, which is a ludicrous discount for that box, and they shifted bloody fast. So unsurprising, because that is a stacked box to get for that price. So it wouldn't surprise me if someone did, if they'd overordered, had to clear inventory, and just thought, right, what can we get back on this, and just went, right, let's cut it as close to the bone as we can and make something.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Well, so that's the book, and then there was the everything. I suppose, did we cover the everything else? Do you want to talk? Do you have anything to say about the chapter approved mission deck? I always feel like these cards are kind of afterthoughts. Like, not a lot of people will go super out of their way to get them, because I always feel like you see them in stores and whatnot. Same for the daily sheets.
I mean, the key thing with things like this is them just being available for people, because I know that with the Crusades we've had for 10th edition, they've all launched with a card deck to go with it. The card decks have always sold out super fast and been really hard to get hold of after that, because but that's been a habit with GW and their card decks for years. I mean, the only card decks that they seem to have not had any difficulty with keeping in stock have been the ones for this edition of Kill Team.
Yeah.
You can quite happily go and buy the decks for whichever Kill Team you want from anywhere, really, at the moment, which it sounds daft to say this, but that's kind of unheard of, because normally those things sell through so quickly and they reprint so slowly. But this chapter proof deck, I like the fact that it's supposed to be the deck that you use for competitive and for narrative play. And it's what decides, you always decide your missions based on the deck when you check against your opponent. So it's not a case of doing a draw. This is a case of, right, what army have you got? Here's my army. This is our respective dispositions. What game will you playing?
Yeah.
And then work out. The fact there are 25 individual missions, that's actually quite a lot.
How do you know what the usual kind of missions are, or how many you usually get?
I mean, I know that from past, there's been some editions where you've barely had. Sometimes you've had maybe a couple in the core rulebook. Sometimes you might have only a maximum of 10.
Oh, okay.
It can really vary. But in the past, they've put a lot of new missions in things like the chapter for Crusade books, or the pullouts we're getting in White Dwarf each month. So, but a lot of those aren't necessarily legally. They have separate tournament campaign packs, whereas this is going to be the one that is done for everything. So I'm intrigued I want to see how it works in the wild. I'm intrigued, but I do appreciate where some people might be a bit concerned, because relying on cards for everything, it does create a bit more clutter as well.
Oh, to like extra stuff that you need and have on the table, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I understand that concern from folks as well, but we shall see on that score. I think it's potentially a positive move.
Well, I mean, if you want to do a fancy way of doing it, as long as you know what the card is, you could just have like a spin the wheel and spin the wheel, and then just whatever it lands on, just do that and not have the card. But that would mean committing it to your own memory, I suppose.
That's true. But I do like the idea that every detachment's going to have a separate disposition. So you could have the same army, play it under multiple different detachments, and each detachment could have a different disposition. So you're focused with a different sort of gameplay. So in theory, you might have a rough idea what your opponent might have as their objectives, or what mission you might end up playing. But you might also come up with a really interesting matchup that neither of you were expecting. And I'm intrigued by that. Like I say, I'm cautiously optimistic, but we shall see.
And you also get a Geet Wasser of a transfer sheet as well.
Yeah, the transfer sheets. I'm a big fan of the transfer sheets they've been doing for the last few years.
My negative about the transfer sheet is maybe they should do two separate ones for Space Marines and Orcs.
I was thinking that it would have been nice if they'd been separate, one Orcs and one Marines, because then you could get more of both on there.
Yeah, like I get it. It's meant to be the Armageddon one for the Armageddon box. Sure, that makes sense. But if you are just collecting the Orcs or you're just collecting the Space Marines, you probably don't want extras of these. Otherwise, you're just going to have a load left over.
Also, it is nice that you do have enough that, so like the Space Marines, there's enough of each chapter's stuff there to do the entire box.
True.
Which is, it is more what they have been doing on other box sets in the past, but it's still somehow refreshing to see it because it's not always expected.
Should we go on and talk about the models, unless Mr. White has anything else to say about
I'm all good about that. The cards and the transfers are the set dressing for what we're about to talk to.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the big stuff is, of course, we're going to start off with what I would call as the afterthought of the set. We're going to be talking about the Space Marines first.
Which is
weird. I don't know about you guys. I definitely feel like somebody loves the Orcs, and the Space Marines got like Gary, the toilet cleaner, to be like, what should we do for the Space Marines? And it's like, it's the usual.
I just found it funny that this is the third Space Marine captain with a relic shield and a power sword since the Imperium box in 9th. Because there was the captain of that one, there was the special captain for the Imperium Hachette part work. Then now there's this guy, and they all have exactly the same loadout.
Does that make him rare, or is it just like a common thing then?
It's just odd that they've opted for sword and board for 3 separate captains when there are other options they should have could have gone with. But
what would you prefer then? What would you have said to me? Or would you have had a weapons swap so you could have him with a sword or an axe? Like you could build him how you like.
That would have been nice. I might have gone for giving him something other than a shield. Have him with. I know he has a bolt pistol as standard because he's a Space Marine, because he's got a bolt pistol.
Sure.
Have him actually aiming the damn thing like he is on the cover of the box.
That's silly.
That seems so weird that they've not opted to do that, given it's the pose. So I don't know.
Design-wise, Mr. White, how do you feel about this captain and his very small amount of little tuft on his head, which looks a bit embarrassing, I feel?
It does a bit, because you just think these guys do have to get that trimmed.
Yeah.
There has to be a hairdresser in these ships, and it's like, how do you exactly create conversation with the Space Marine? It's like, morning, sir. A bit off the top. So, how are we doing?
They'd have to climb a stepladder as well, even while they're sitting down to do it.
Can you imagine as well them blessing the clippers with holy oil? But it would be holy beard oil, so it would have all these manly scents. No, I think I really like him. I mean, they've gotten so much better at indicating movement through steels or fabrics, and there is a nice sense of movement with him. I just wish they get away with go away from the Rock. Just
oh my god, we're going to see the pissing Rock so much throughout both of these.
The thing is as well, this is Armageddon, so this is a land that should almost be meters deep in the wreckage of previous battles. Yeah. So let's have the carcasses of tanks and bodies and detritus for one set. Let's have everything. I mean, the orcs are far more in that vein. Like a lot of the orcs are kind of on top of junk, but let's really lean into this and make this the edition where the bases all have that unifying feel and there isn't rock, because if there's any rock it would have been pounded to dust by now. So sorry, that's a minor thing, but to get back to what you said, Andy, like in terms of the aesthetic, for me, the movement is the thing that makes this. It is impressive. I kind of wish that it had the whole, head and torso relic skeleton embedded in the shield.
Oh, like the Imperium one then?
Yes, like the Imperium. I would like that, but you know what? Also as well, and I don't know how this fits in with lore, but I would love it as well if it was like something like the body of an orc. Like it was almost like as a taunting kind of thing where they shove that on there. So they're not blessing themselves here. They're just saying, we've been killing you for a long time. We're good at it. Look at the last one we killed. Yeah. We're going after you next. Or even the metal parts from a boss, like the jaw and a bionic, something like that. I'd like that on there. But, that's my kind of making up my own lore as I go.
Well, the problem is that's not generic enough, I think, and these need to be generic enough to be any Space Marine chapter.
You're right.
And also not on Armageddon. I like the idea that he's standing on at least a broken vehicle, because at least it would give the idea of the tactical rock without it being a tactical rock. It would be the same thing, but different at the very least, and it doesn't need to be under meters and meters of like you said, like grounded machinery, anything like that. Though that would make a really interesting base. It wouldn't make a generic base. But just sit on a vehicle would just be like we were talking about the made to order stuff. You had that one dude standing on a busted gun. You can do that. That would work.
I mean, honestly, I actually look forward to, because I will be finding ways. I won't pick up multiple boxes, but I will find a way to pick up more of the miniatures, because I always do. But I look forward to kind of ditching the tactical rocks that are on that come with the default for a lot of these guys, trying to see how they can be posed differently. One thing I do really like though is the two alternate helmet heads, because you've got a classic Mark 7 helmet with the wreath, but also a crested helm. It's not just a Mark 10 helmet. It's got a little bit of Athenian style hoplite around the sides, around before you get to the snout of the armor, which is normally you only see that on third party heads, to be honest.
Oh, is that a third-party thing that you've seen in the past?
Oh, yeah. You see Spartan-style helmets quite often.
I definitely say it spruces up the Primaris helmet look, which I'm generally not a fan of. So that's a nice addition to try and add something. I think it makes it, for me, specifically a little heavy in the Ultramarine style, because that's the Spartan look should be, I think, primarily, or Roman look should be primarily for the Ultramarines, though they never really design them to look that way, unfortunately, mostly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen this captain before. I feel like he's not that crazy in terms of like things that we haven't seen. The one thing I kind of like, I don't know if it's intentional or not, his little groin flappy leather bits and then the belt going down reminds me a little bit of the Rogue Trader Terminator captain that has that kind of...
His Paterges and his scabbarded short sword, yeah,
his little drippy floppy bits and his sword. That's what I said. That's the bit.
No, he is.
Flop.
Yeah,
he is the most default Space Marine captain you could imagine, isn't he?
Yeah, and that's a problem. I would say it's a problem, at least, because it makes him boring. At least in my eyes.
His full title should be another captain with relic shield. And no, that's not a negative thing. It's just this is the problem I think they face here is that in terms of the detail and the quality of the sculpt, we can't argue with that. They still
Yep.
keep pushing the technical side of things as much as they can, but because they focus so much, and as you say, Andy, as well, they've focused so much on like the ultramarine, so you have that aesthetic. So they've done so many of these things before that unless you're really willing to make something unique or maybe a bit more niche, which is obviously not what GW wants to do, you do end up with it's another captain with relic shield. Unless they do something radically different.
I mean, I've just tried to work out in my head. I think this will be the seventh kind of generic power armored Space Marine captain that they've done since
in how many years?
Since 8th edition.
Which was how many years ago?
That was 2018.
Oh, okay.
Optimistically.
So a while.
Yeah.
But still quite a lot of captains, I suppose.
Oh yeah, and that's not including the Terminator captains, the Gravis captains. That's just the dudes in bog standard, tactical type plate, and yeah, that's a lot of captains.
Librarians.
I've seen people ragging on him, but I kind of dig him.
He's on a tactical rock again, so he's a character. Don't worry.
But at least there's some movement in it, so that's...
He looks very similar to the Leviathan dude, I feel.
I mean, some have suggested that it's the same dude.
Yeah, I was thinking it might have been, because it looked like he had a very similar face design.
I mean, in fairness, it's the same face they've used for the multi-part Primaris Librarian since 8th edition. He's got the goatee as well.
Oh.
I don't know why they've done 4 Primaris Librarians, non-special character ones. 3 of them have the goatee, and 1 of them we can't tell because he's got a gas mask on. So he could still have a goatee underneath it.
I'm going to say we are uncovering a plot that basically the hidden new character is going to be a team of barbers upon their battle barge, and it'll be like, what can we do for your hair? Oh, sorry, you're psychic. Okay, well, look, we'll just make up for it by going over the board on facial hair. Did you say that this is the same character, or that people were theorizing this is the same person from Leviathan?
Some people think so, just because it is so well. It's a different chapter for one thing, so it can't really.
Well, also, surely wasn't that the guy who kind of got his brain melted?
Well,
in the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's fine. He got over it.
Twas a flesh wound. There's one thing I really like here. I really like the sculpting on the hands. There's something almost a little bit creepy about the shading on them in this particular model. But also, I can't shake this thing that you could... I know it would take a hell of a lot of work, more skill than I ever have. But I can't help but imagine a noise marine guitar in the place of that stuff. Because it does feel a little bit like he's holding up some sort of musical... I don't know. It feels really odd, a bit rock starish.
I sense Mr. George might have a new kit bash in mind.
There is something weird. I don't, in my mind, usually... is this the first time we've had a librarian in this I'm pointing my stick at you kind of pose? Because I don't think I can ever picture in my mind.
There was a plastic librarian before the Primaris range, and he's got his staff out in the same, not quite the same sort of dynamism to it, but he does have a staff that he's holding in the same sort of pose.
Okay.
And 1 foot in front of him on a rock, and with a goatee as well, funnily enough, but very clearly bold. So, yeah,
it's calling.
I mean, I see this guy's been much more an update of that particular model than anything else, and I do like that you're getting a nice spread of characters for Marines in this box, which we'll get to more of them in a bit. But
I'm sorry, all joking aside, I realised I actually have a lot in common facially with this librarian. I didn't even realise until now.
Your eyes are glowing blue. Oh dear, I'd go and see someone, dude.
There's no hope.
That's the spirit. Yeah, for me, this doesn't do a lot. It's been a while since I've really seen a librarian that really strikes me in a way that I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just like they all kind of mush together because they're all kind of similar in terms of their armor design and their colors, because obviously they're librarians, so they all have to be blue. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what it is.
Would you like more action, rage, or power from a librarian figure?
What, like he's actually using the, let's just say, the force. Yeah, maybe something like that. Like he comes with a little energy, flibbly energy effects around him. Maybe that might be quite cool. Yeah. And not just coming from the base, of course, because it does look like he's maybe lightly throwing pebbles at people. Is that what they're going for with the base? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I think so. It's meant to help with movement.
They said that he and the weird boy, their base is kind of, they don't lock up, but they're supposed to represent them being in a duel of minds. So
he's kicking pebbles at the weird boy.
Yeah.
It seems a bit petty.
A little bit.
Is the helmet a unique one for him? It's just I don't.
It is. It's got a psychic hood built into it.
Yeah, it's like a speedo cap.
It'd be interesting to see if that style of helmet gets added to any other units, because it is a nice little twist on a Space Marine helmet, and if Kit Bashers will take that sort of styling and apply it to older helms.
Well, I mean, the older librarian kit for the Primaris does have a helmeted option as well, which is it's a little different if it's the detailing for psychic hood that's on it, but it's not a million miles away. I mean, I've used multiples of that on my Ultramarine librarians, including Tigerius, because all my Ultramarines have got their helmets on because they're not being stupid. And
somewhere Kirioth is smiling.
Yeah, one does one's best, but no, I again, it's a thing I like that all the characters in this box have helmeted options. Because it's especially on I can't remember if these are push fit or not, but on this sort of kit, it's so rare to get.
They have to be push fit, right? Just because it's this kind of box usually is push fit, right?
Yeah,
I think so. But it's refreshing and very welcome. So
cool.
Do you want to talk about the chaplain with the jump pack? I can't remember if me and Griff and Mr. George have talked about the chaplain jump packy dude. I think we have, but
you have.
You two can talk about it at least.
I mean, I can't wait to get him so I can turn him into a space wolf. He's going to become a wolf priest. It's simple as that.
Okay.
Because I've done that to every chaplain they've released so far, turned him into a space wolf. That smoke cloud that he's bouncing on.
The bubble gum that he can't get off his foot. Yeah, I don't like it at all.
I mean, if it was coming out of that thrust on his heel, I could understand it, but it just makes no sense.
Honestly,
you can look really cool, can you? With it like erupting from his jump jets and having to push him off the ground rather than like Mr. White said, that's a perfect thing. Bubblegum stuck to his shoe or a toilet roll, like clinging to
they haven't done that for a single Space Marine jump pack character yet.
That's weird.
Which just bizarre.
I would really like to see if somebody takes a base, adds some wreckage, and has the wreckage like a vertical section of this wreckage, so the guy is either running down or just literally jumping and launching off a piece of wreckage. So his boot can literally be on the side of a piece of something. It could even be stone, whatever. But you get rid of the jump back element completely, and you just have him springing from wherever he is. And I think he's a beautiful model. I really like the paint job here. He is quite busy, but I do like the fact that even if his weapons, the two weapons in his hands, get taken out, that he can just then load up on his big book that he's got on his ass and literally beat people to death with the book. It is lovely. It's a lovely character. I just think it's not going to be too flexible for people to do a lot with. But then again, My knowledge of these things is incredibly basic, so I don't know. Andy, do you see this model and see a lot of potentials for people to change this into other stuff, or do you think, they're going to paint this as pretty much what it is?
Well, my question back to you: do you mean talented people or just general people?
I would say both. I mean, would it put off? Do you think it would put off general people?
I don't know.
Trying to change something like this.
I mean,
I know
if
it's an odd question, but yeah.
Well, it's a tricky one because if you're talented, you can
do anything.
Magic happens, and then you just get green stuff and smush it all together. You could turn him into a Hierophant if you wanted, I suppose. For the slightly more gimped customizer like myself, I think you could probably, because most of the stuff I've tried to customize have been made of bone, so it's harder to do since he's a bit thicker. Yeah. He might be a little bit easier to pose. I think you could probably do something more interesting with his, the bubble gum, and you could at least have him clambering over rocks if you wanted to nip off the smoke trail and you wanted to build up like a small base for him to stand on. That would probably work, I suppose. Maybe you could put a giant bush in front of him, so you give the effect of what you were talking about earlier, and he's just jumping over a small hedge, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah, a shrubbery.
A shrubbery, yes, surprising them from the shrubbery.
I can think of a couple. So if you snipped off the Croesus just where you see the little silver bit at the top of the haft, cut above that, and then you can mount a power axe head very easily there in its place. So you got a fancy power axe or a power mace, whatever you like. Head swap, Bob's good. The shoulder pad, the engraved one, because that is a chapter shoulder pad, that's probably molded onto the shoulder as well. You could probably either file it down or possibly trim the whole pad away and replace it with maybe a captain's shoulder pad or something. Head swap, easy enough. Jump pack, if you want it or not, great. If you want it without, you should be able to file down the thrusters on the heels fairly easily. And like you say, you can have him leaping into action, no jump pack necessary. He's just bounding over a bit of wreckage. Job's a good one.
Nice.
I think my issue with this, more so than anything, I think generally the design is fine. It's just the pose. The pose feels like every other jump pack guy we've seen. And I think we're going to see some more jump pack guys who are effectively in the exact same pose as this.
I will say, the previous two jump pack chaplains, the plastic one for Blood Angels and the old metal one, I do think they both have a lot more personality than this chap. The Blood Angel, because he's got the wing jump pack and he has that half flayed skin musculature look to his armor. And the original jump pack chaplain, I don't know, there's just something about him. He's got a lot of... I think it's the pose. He looks like he's jumping straight up and clocking someone with his Croesus in the process. Or he's just done that and has his Croesus raised up high. It just feels more dynamic, which is so weird given this guy is literally jumping in motion. But I can do things with this model. I can see... I've already looked at where I can trim things away and change the posing and mount him in... So using like a headlong charge or something. It's not impossible to do. It's just a little frustrating that this model probably requires it more than anything else in this set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about the Vanguard veterans, which are just the assault marines who are with jump packs, as far as I can tell? It's just a different name.
And with lots of power weapons, which I'm always happy to see.
So we got a man with a sword, a double-handed sword jumping off a rock. We've got a man with a bolt pistol, I guess, even though it looks like a rifle, with a sword standing on the ground. So that's a different pose. We've got another one jumping off a rock in a slightly different pose. We have another one jumping off a rock. One on the ground, but with his foot off the ground. So it looks like he's in the exact same pose as the one jumping off the rock. But just doesn't have the rock there, funnily enough. And that's it. That's all of them. It does show you with a few different head options between them, but again, not a huge amount of customization. But if these are push fit, I guess that makes sense. Again, I don't like how any of these assault marines are posed. And to be fair, I wasn't a huge fan of how assault marines were posed back in the day, either like second edition poses. I always feel like they've had a struggle of what to do with them, and I think they had more of
Mm.
an excuse back then because they were mostly metal then.
Yeah, my last set of Vanguard vets were the metal versions they did.
Whenabouts were they? Do you remember?
That was 4th edition.
Oh
Uh,
god, okay.
I mean, they're still quite nice. I mean, the
Oh,
sergeant
I
is
haven't.
the
I bet they look
sergeant is
great.
basically the sergeant is basically this sergeant. It's exactly the same pose, two-handed relic blade jumping in. The other guys they're all standing on bits of scenery, and it's a real mismatch because one stood on a bit of Wraithbone, another one is doing the jumping. They're in some slightly odd poses because of the terrain, and they're a mixed bag of weapons. They've got chain swords and plasma and power swords and bolt pistols, whereas these guys are all power swords and then either a bolt or a plasma pistol, which I like the fact that they have that mix up of stuff. But as I've seen,
go on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I've seen a few folks point out that you compare these to how the Sternguard vets looked in the Leviathan box and in their main release, and in comparison to their Firstborn release, which again, that Firstborn Sternguard set is dripping in ostentatious detail, which carried over to the updated versions. These Vanguards are weird because they've never really had as much going on as the Sternguard traditionally, certainly the plastics. Most of their detailing weird is on the jump packs or the veteran shoulder pad on the right. But these feel very stripped back. I mean, they're not dissimilar to the jump pack veterans we've had in the last couple of years.
They do feel just kind of the same. Like, I'm surprised that these are meant to be like special versions of them. The only thing I can tell that makes them different is like they've got a little bit of a loincloth kind of around the groin, and that's a slightly fancier helmet, right?
And they all got the veteran shoulder pad, but that is really it. You could very easily turn these into regular assault veterans.
Yeah, it's odd.
It does strike me as odd that I almost wonder if when they go to battle, if they're on a completely flat piece of ground and there's one rock, that they all queue up and take turns running and bouncing off the rock because it's almost a ritual that they have to do it. I would like, though, the idea of, like, you've got Marines that have this engine that is, or this jet that is so close to them. I think with paint jobs, it's more a paint job thing, I know, than the sculpting thing, but it kind of would be nice to see the fact that they are in the air, so maybe more of that kind of included in the design. So you've got them even landing at speed so that they've got a low crouch and there's some movement there, or you've got extra seals on them and maybe some extra fabrics so that it makes the most of the fact that they are going to be moving around fast. But yeah, as Andy said as well, they feel like very vanilla. They feel kind of like this is the bunch of guys that you can paint any way you want and it won't be a problem, and have at it, folks.
Yeah, I mean, it is doing the job of being a box set, but it's very chapter agnostic, though. So
yes,
on that score, it's winning. Unfortunately, that doesn't make it the most exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's what we've got the orcs for anyway, so.
This is true.
Yeah. Do we have anything else we want to say about the veteran boobly flooble jump pack boys?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Right.
Move on to the ancient.
Yeah, he's not ancient. He doesn't have a fucking beard. He's a liar. What do you mean he's ancient? He's just a standard bearer, as far as I'm concerned. Is the standard molded, or is it flat? Because I don't know.
I've been, from what I understand, the detail on the banner is molded.
Okay, so it always will be a Blood Angel standard bearer then?
No. As in the eagle, the disc, the Armageddon scroll, and the Orc skulls. That's there, but you can put whatever chapter you like on the actual banner.
Okay, so the circle will be molded, but the inner circle will be basically flat for a transfer. Okay, I get you. That's fine. That's
same,
good.
Same thing for the little 5 in the starburst at the top there.
Right. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I was mildly concerned when I saw that. Well, no, I don't really care. But I thought it would have been a bit of a bummer for people that maybe wanted to do Ultramarines and were like, well, you can't have it. So that's good at least.
Yeah, and this is actually a way more dynamic looking than I expected for a standard bearer.
You're right. He's not on a full rock. He's on 2 little rocks. That's how you know he's not quite as important as the other characters. Yeah. He's still on rocks, just not full rocks.
He's also realized as well that he can't. He's kind of negated the issue that a lot of other banner bearers have, and that they can't see because they're holding a banner in front of them. Looks lovely, but they're useless. This guy, he's like, I know it's in front of me. I don't want to damage it, but I do want to be able to peer around it. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of the fabric here and just have a little pokey round and see if anyone's shooting at me.
Thumb it out of the way.
Yeah, just a little glance.
Would it have been nice if the banner had a few bullet holes in it?
Oh, it'd be so Dawn of War intro, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Right? Yeah. I don't know if people would want that for their banners. Maybe they want the banners to be full and pretty, but I think this is the war. They should have a hole in them or two.
They'll get the Dremel out. They'll absolutely do that.
I was going to say, I think this will release. It's a case of, well, we're going to do it stock, and then if the end user wants to homage that particular scene, fill your boots.
It's weird. I don't have much to say about the Ancient because he is just a standard Space Marine, as far as I can tell, with the flag, and that's it. It's like, okay, yeah.
He is a Space Marine standard bearer.
Yeah.
Probably the nicest we've had in a while. And in all honesty, Space Marines have done quite well in that regard anyway for their standard bearers. So it's nice that some
standard would be fairly unsnappable as well, because it looks like the fabric that Mr. White pointed out that's been thumbed out the way looks like all of the actual banner is connected to the pole, so you won't have an issue of it snapping. Yeah, and it's obviously going all across his fist as well.
Yeah, that is very refreshing. As I imagine, this will cause some people a few headaches for transportation, given how high he's holding the damn thing up. But
it'll probably be a bit annoying to get him to stand next to people, I suppose, if you're doing it like that as well, right? Because he's poking out the bottom.
Yeah, but at least it's just the bottom of the stick as opposed to half the banner hanging over.
Yeah.
So
yes, very true. But that's him. Then we've got the Intercessors, what I'd call the Tactical Squad, or what used to be called the Tactical Squad.
Not a massive. This is basically it's a decent revision of what they did for Dark Imperium. The Intercessors there.
Yeah, because there's not a huge amount that's different here. The collar's higher, and they have the Mark IV helmet on some of them.
Nice. Yeah, and some Mark 7 helms and some different shoulder pads in places. It's a nice way to see there's been some evolution. And I also like that across the squad, there's different types of bolt rifle in play. Because now that they've made it so there's no different. Every Intercessor squad has access to all the rules for bolt rifles on their one gun. As opposed to how it used to be. It's kind of nice that you can look at this one. You got a couple of guys with the big box mag for the assault rifle. You got a couple with the sniper version, rest of them all the standard. Oh, and you got a couple of guys with grenade launchers, which again, that wasn't in the Dark Imperium box. It was in the multi-part Intercessor kit, but not in the main one. And the Sniper's got a chainsword, which that wasn't even in the main Intercessor box. You had to kit bash that until they did the assault Intercessors. So it's not exciting, but it's your bread and butter unit. Would it have been nice if this had actually been a proper tactical squad? So missile launcher and flamer in there? God, yeah. I would. I honestly thought we might have seen that in this edition, where the tactical squad goes Primaris. But it does feel quite a lot like GW. Someone at GW is just averse to having different weapons in a single squad. They want it all to be mono weapon,
which is weird because the Imperial Guard are not like that.
Yeah,
right.
But then they have also removed heavy weapon teams from Imperial Guard squads.
Have they? I thought you could still take like grenade launchers and flamers.
Special weapons, yeah, but you can't. You can no longer take heavy weapons. So heavy weapon teams used
Well,
to
still,
be.
you've got a lot of different weapon. You've got at least 2 or 3 weapon profiles.
Yeah, you've got a few options
team.
in there. It's weird that Space Marines can't do that
Yeah.
in their baseline squad. So
I wish I
I've
had
not
more
been
to say about these because, again, it's just I feel like they're just Space Marines, and I don't feel they've massively upped the game from the previous set of like standard Intercessor Space Marines, or the one that you can get for free in the GW store. There's some okay poses, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, they're
You know.
this is my bias, but they're not a patch on the Grey Hunters or Blood Claws.
Okay, so if
6
you
months ago.
if you show a picture of these ones next to the ones from 9th of Leviathan to someone who doesn't know Space Marines or the 40k and say, can you tell which ones are the newer ones? They won't have any idea.
Nah, I don't think they'd be able to.
No.
I don't know. I actually like a lot of the sculpting that they've done on these Intercessors, but it is just another squad of Intercessors.
Sorry, can I just check? So this is the page that we're looking at. This is the entire Space Marine side contents of this box.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So from your experience looking at other editions and other box sets, is it a surprise that there's literally one chainsword, which used to be the iconic weapon, I thought, in the entire set, and that it seems like they're going heavily into the traditional sword instead? Or is that just because of the types of units, like veterans, you associate them more with the fancier swords?
Yeah, I think that's it, really. Veterans normally have power weapons because they're generally considered a better weapon because they do better AP as opposed to a chainsword.
Okay.
But then Dark Imperium had no chainswords in it at all. None on the Space Marines, none on the Death Guard side. It was all power weapons, if anything, or that type of weapon. So
cool.
It's actually surprising for them to have a chainsword at all. In fairness.
Sorry, that was a bit of an odd one, but
no,
I'll let you escape to the glory of the orcs if you want to. Unless there's something else that we've missed.
We still have 2 Space Marine options to look at, unfortunately.
Yes, the heavy bolter eradicator squad, which is the Assault Marines, I guess. No, not the Assault Marines.
Devastator
squad.
Yeah.
It's
a weird option given that the heavy intercessors who are in Gravis armor can take a heavy bolter anyway.
Stupid.
And you still want. I just want them to do proper devastator squads.
Because it makes more sense. It made more sense back in those editions.
Yeah,
like Gravis armor, and you got the stupid floaty dudes with the machine guns built into their forearms, and it's just a mess. This is the problem with making too many different units, and you had no focus. And now you've got these ones which are again a devastator squad, but only of heavy bolters, and it's like, okay,
yeah.
And they look fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's so weird because the Eradicators, at least, when they had their main kit release, they had an option there for a multi-melter. And briefly, you had the same thing as with the Hellblasters. They could take a heavier version of the melter rifle. These guys, they have heavy bolters.
That's it.
There's not really anywhere you can go from there unless they decide that the sergeant can maybe downgrade to a storm bolter, which becomes a question of why would you do that?
And I hate to say it, but these heavy bolters, they all look as though when they were being painted, the person put them in a special little mount so that they could paint them properly. And then when they came to take the mount out, it got stuck. It came away. The lid of the mount came away, and that's what they're left with wrapped around the gun. It looks like part of a stapler. I don't know. It feels like again, my knowledge on these is extremely limited, but just from what Andy's saying, I do get the fact that these just feel like they're halfway to something else, but they're not quite distinctive enough to be anything in themselves. And if you've got a lot of other Space Marines, then these sure are some more Space Marines.
I want to ask you, Mr. White, since you're not as quite as familiar, if you took off the little front red shield of these bolters, to you, how different would they look from the other bolters that we've been looking at so far today?
I think
Would they be noticeably different, or would they only be like yeah, they are a bit different.
I think a lot depends on obviously how you paint them, and here they just because of the amount of metal and the amount of straight metal paint on there as well, the silver, it does feel like it's a heavier weapon, so it does have some heft to it. I'm looking primarily though at the first one here, that's the first model painted, because that's got an awful lot of silver on it. The rest of them, yeah, I think a lot kind of they do mold in. If anything, it's the magazine that kind of gives them the character. The big chunky box on the base.
Okay,
reminds me of bits from a film set. But I can see why you might. I mean, maybe that whole guard thing is the defining feature of this type of weapon. But it just feels a bit odd. It does feel as though and maybe it's the painting here as well. It's like. The red guard just feels a bit odd. I don't know, and it's not even. I have to admit, it's not something I can easily explain to you guys. It's one of those things that I look at it and go, "Yeah, that just feels a bit messy."
Okay,
I do get where you come from. The funny thing is that when they've done heavy bolters for Gravis troops, or for any prime aerospace marines, a lot of them do have a guard, but it's not a full shield like this. It's got cutouts, so it's either got a cutout on the top, so the guy can actually see through it potentially, or underneath, because it's only really supposed to be blocking stuff coming above him. The fact that it's a full shield, it doesn't actually feel like something that is practical, because you can't actually maintain the weapon now, because you've got a huge, great gun shield stuck to. And it is actually behind part of the mechanics of the frame of the weapon. So
your weapons could still get taken out anyway.
Yeah, and if you need,
I know the shield is meant to protect the marine more than the gun, but it does seem a bit odd that something heavy impacts against that. I'm reading far too much into this now, though. Sorry.
See, I don't know about Big D, but I think the best looking heavy bolter was 3rd edition. 2nd edition was a bit silly because it was above their shoulder, and it was a bit like it was more.
You're thinking the Devastator redesign with the belt-fed mag.
Yes, I think that was the best look for them, because they were very noticeably distinctively different from like a normal guy with a bolter.
Yeah,
the fact that they had the belt feeding into it as well gave it the the Gatling gun look, the smart gun look from Alien. While this just looks like a bit of a heavy gun or a slightly heavier storm bolter.
Yeah, you can't imagine these guys have enough ammunition to last.
No, because you're meant to be like chunking through bullets really fast with this kind of firepower, and that's why the belt mag
huge hoppers on the back, which just. You know what? If these guys if they had giant ammo hoppers on their backpacks and the ammo feed,
that would help. Yeah,
that would I think do a lot for it. Yeah,
I think this would work if you changed the backpack so it looked like a completely different backpack and gave it a belt that went into that. I'd be way more into this design, way more.
Yeah, I think it would help with the silhouette. It would help with the feel. Yeah, makes sense.
I'd be down for it.
Yeah, no, but it's not that though. Next we have the last big thing of the set, which is not a dreadnought, which is lame. It is a land speeder, which actually I don't think looks too bad. It looks like a land speeder. It's got the kind of little quips here and there to make it more into a Primaris one, which I don't think it looks quite as aerodynamic as the older land speeders, but it's okay.
I mean, if you have it stand side by side with the classic land speeder from 3rd edition onwards, this clearly stands as an evolution of that design.
Sort of. It looks a bit more boxy. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's been a
little bit more of an enclosing design for the Marines.
Yeah,
and a bit more technical greebles on the actual chassis, which weren't there on the previous version. Which I don't dislike, actually. I think it gives it a bit more presence and not say believability, but it makes it feel more like a vehicle that makes sense compared to the previous one. I like that it's got the classic weapon loadout, so multi-melter assault cannon. You can have a heavy flamer underneath. I wish there was a heavy bolter, because that was the other classic
Well, you do have the
pincer weapon.
Gatling. So how does the Gatling work instead of the Flamer?
Well, the Gatling just pumps out more shots than has sustained, if I remember rightly.
Okay.
Heavy Flamer gives you torrent, and you don't need to roll a hit for it, so that's the trade-off. But the classic one it came with multi-melter or heavy bolt, and then they revised the kit so you could have the option of assault cannon or heavy flamer underslung, and then your choice of whichever weapon the gunner was firing from his side seat. But I like this. I like that they're giving you missiles as well as standard rather than being the Typhoon upgrade. So
okay.
Because the pods could be a little awkward to make work. So just having a couple of underslung missiles is nice.
Is anyone concerned how thick the connection point is between the little plume of smoke is and the base? Is it just the plume of smoke? Because it doesn't look like the rocks going into it.
Oh, apparently you have options. You can either have it attached to the plume of smoke, or you can mount it directly to the rock.
Well, how thick is the plume of smoke?
Well, I think it is
thin-ish, but that's only from this angle.
I think it is actually sculpted into the rock. The piece of rock that they've got it attached to is one piece with the smoke. So I think that does help, but it's so weird because they actually do have now a decent flying base for skimmer type models, a mid-range stand, which is nice and chunky, and it does the job really well.
Is this still a translucent kind of one that they used to have, or is it different from that?
It's a translucent one that you stick on to the base and then has a connection to the. I think I do get it that they wanted to make this version. This is a push. This is another push one, so it's to make it as easy to build as possible. So without having a separate stand, which I get that completely. So it's not a massive gripe for me. It's just one where I go, but you have one. Just trust people.
I guess it's to make it more dynamic and in keeping with the other kind of jumpy, floaty kind of stuff as well.
That'll be my assumption as well, in fairness.
I just hope it's not like a some of the Nighthaunt models where when you put it down on the table, it just starts vibrating left and right as it tries to rebalance itself. As long as it's not like that, that's fine. I just asked because a lot of the images I've seen of it don't actually show how thick the connection point is between the two. And I've looked around at the fancy shot as well and can't tell.
Given how much chunkier the Landspeeder is compared to most Nighthawk models, that would scare the bejesus out of me if I started doing that.
Yes, which is why I mentioned it, because I'm like, that's a vehicle. So
in fairness, during the unboxing show, when they had both the Blood Ninja one and Adam's own Ravenwing one that he'd done.
Oh, you did one, Mr. White. I like the silence.
I'm not rising to that bait.
He's not even going to dignify that with a response.
I'm not stupid, Andy.
But neither of those seem to wiggle that much on the base, so that's quite encouraging.
Yeah.
But it's the Landspeeder. It's back, baby.
I found it odd because I didn't think it had gone, to be honest.
Well, they legended and replaced it with the Storm Speeder, which is that huge brick with the free crew, which never made any sense to me as a Lance replacement.
That's the one with the third guy in the back with the guns right next to his head, isn't it? So he's always got tinnitus from that point on. Yep. That's right. Poor guy.
Yeah.
And that's the Space Marines. Ooh, what a bland showing, I would argue.
Coming to an eBay site near you soon.
Yeah.
And I can't wait because I hoover up Space Marines every edition like you wouldn't believe.
Well, there's enough of them. You can always find Space Marines flopping about.
Yep.
The Space Marines I don't know about for the rest of you, but for me, it's just very much the afterthought of this box set because the Orcs are here.
Yay.
Yeah, baby.
Zug, Dabu.
This really is the main event.
Yes.
You can see where all the love went in the design team for these, because these are quite lovely.
And I would say significantly more improved than the previous Orcs that we'd seen, which were the Beast Snaggers mostly, and a few other bits here and there. You can put these next to them and go, nope, these are newer than the Space Marines, or the Beast Snaggers at least. So the War Boss, Did we see the War Boss before the box was revealed? I can't remember.
No, they revealed the multi-part War Boss.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
separately, because he's got
yes.
he's got a few build options. This one has, I think, an alternate head and shooter option, but isn't anywhere near as interchangeable as the other one's going to be.
Was that because this is the quote unquote raw War Boss rather than the one below it, which is the Big Boss. So you get a War Boss and a Big Boss.
Yeah, I do love for Space Marines. This don't get a lieutenant, but the Orcs do.
Is that the Big Boss is? Is that what that role
Pretty
is
much,
for them?
yeah.
Okay. So how do we feel about the Big Boss? Because again, I will state I'm not a big fan of hobo orc look, but that is generic space orc look these days. So fine, I think they've executed it very well. There's a lot of interesting details, at least on this guy. He's got a power chain axe thingamadoodah, combi bolter flamer looking gun as well, and a nice little banner on his back. And you can tell he's a character because he's standing on 2 rocks, even though he doesn't technically need to.
He's got a lot of character with his outfit. There's like you can imply a lot of history with him, and there's a lot of care that's gone into building up the layer. So he's actually wearing a hell of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's nice the way it's all been sort of bolted together. It's a nice character. I have to admit, I prefer the Big Boss to the War Boss, but he's nice. Yeah, and the care that they've taken in putting the skull on his banner, it's almost like it's a little go-lucky charm for him.
Is it wearing headphones? Is that what the red bit on the side of it is? Like a headphone?
It could be, yeah, Beats by Dre or something.
Oh, it's a Space Marine head. It's part of the helmet when they take primarily. It's a bit of stuff behind around the back.
Nice.
I hate that I know that. I really do.
How do you feel about the War Boss, Big D? Do you like it?
I do. I think he's great fun. My only real concern with this Orc release overall is that everything in it just is going to overshadow anyone who's got an existing Orc force in their collection. It's going to be like, oh. Well, otherwise, he is the quintessential Orc War Boss. He's got everything you want in there. Like Mr. White said, he's got lots of lovely detail sculpted in. Laden with kit. I love that the banner has the glyph plates on there, but of that they're not, the detail themselves isn't sculpted in, so you can paint or transfer that as you like. Same for the middle of the banner. So yeah, this is pretty fab, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a decent looking one. Mr. White said it's got a lot of stuff on it, but I don't think it's cluttered. Like sometimes I feel that GW go over the top of the detail and it becomes a bit of a visual mess, and it doesn't seem like that's the case with this Orc.
They've spaced the amount of stuff around him, and so he has a nice consistent feel of he's got something covering most of his body, but it's not all cluttered in one place.
Yeah, and it doesn't just get mushed together and turn into goop.
And moving him up to I think it's a 50mm base he's on, which seems to be it's the standard now for Terminator captains and a few other kind of high command type characters for some races. I think that's a good idea because it gives you more space. Because past War Bosses, even on 40mm bases, could feel quite constrained, where everything was kind of squeezed into the base to make it. Whereas this feels quite nice, and there's an openness to it. It means you get more movement out of the War Boss himself.
Were they second editioning it where like his feet were effectively hanging over the edges of the base?
There were times where it was close on a couple of them. The current plastic
poking out.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a real difficulty there with space. So I think it's a good move that they've upped the base size so they can just get more real estate for sculptors to go to town with.
That's fair. We got the Big Boss next, who's a bit less teched up, I suppose. But I like his face design. It's less. I don't know. He looks like a big silly Muppet dude, which I kind of appreciate. I could see this on the set of a Jim Henson production. I feel.
You know what? I get what you mean completely there. I think partly it's the way they've painted him. He gives off a certain vibe which I kind of dig.
I could see his mouth moving up and down like Sweetums, if you remember Sweetums from the Muppets.
Yes,
Got a bit of that vibe to him. He's coming with a double-handed axe. He's also got a little pistol holstered in his bottom, and he's just got some teeth hanging around him. And he's not standing on a tactical rock. Well, he's standing on one rock, but then he's also standing on a little garbled machine thing, and it has a tiny squig question mark in front of him.
Yep, it's the weirdest looking squig we've seen in a while, and I kind of love it because it's just so bizarre.
It almost looks like something that Mr. White's going to be talking about in the not too distant future, I presume. It looks a little bit like the weird puppet creatures from Labyrinth. You know, the ones that pull off the heads.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like if you add eyes to that thing and a little bit of purple, pinky hair to it, I could see it looking like one of those things.
Actually, you know a touch I've just noticed on this guy that I kind of love? On the back of the axe, you can see all the cables running up to the axe that have been screwed into terminals to power it.
They're on the front as well. I didn't notice that.
I know you guys say that there's an element of sort of muppetry about his appearance, but there's something as well about the fact that he's got both of his arms clear from stuff that for me kind of signals that he's more of a dangerous character to me. He looks like somebody who has designed his whole getup around melee and being able to swing his arms and twist his arms.
Yeah.
And he looks like a genuinely dangerous character.
Mm.
And as for the little gremlin buggy, I imagine more than one person will take that thing off the base, put it on its own base, and just do something. It'll just be like an extra addition to their menagerie of odd little creatures.
Absolutely.
Would you take him and put him on his shoulder, do you think? I think I'd like to see him as a little parrot.
Idea.
Yeah, that'd be quite fun.
If you want to do riding on the banner.
Style. Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. I like this guy. What do you like more about this guy than the big boss, Mr. White? Because you did mention that you thought this was better than the big boss. The war boss.
Definitely
you like the big boss more than the war boss.
Definitely the clean arms. Like aesthetically, that to me says somebody who doesn't just swing an axe, but is proficient at it. The pose as well is gearing up to fight. Like not just there's an army over there. It's like there's a guy in front of you. That to me, it's like quite a menacing pose. It's funny. I don't find I find the mouth as just stern and grim. I don't find him too goofy to me. I don't know why, but I like as well the use of just you get a lot more of his armor and other elements on his legs. And I'm thinking that maybe the sort of things that he's fighting, he's kind of he covers his torso with his axe and his movement and his speed, but his extremities, well, the sorts of things he's fighting, well, that's when you need the extra armor on the legs. So he feels just like he just looks like a really good, competent fighter. And anything where an orc actually can be a little bit intimidating in model form, I think is a good thing.
Absolutely.
Also, by the way, did he nick parts of his armor from a lamenter?
There are not enough tears on it.
That's true.
Why did you ask that, Mr. White? Is it because of the checkers?
Yes.
I think it's because he's meant to be a goth, right?
Yeah.
Even though he's that's the only thing gothy about the checkers.
Damn it.
Yeah, we've gone away from the really distinct goth look apart from checker patterns these days, which is again a bit of a shame.
I mean,
if you wanted to lure him up, you could say he took his stuff from a lamenter. If you wanted to,
I mean that'd be a great way to do it. I mean, I have to admit, I should say to people as well at this point, it's not even like a great pile of shame. I have not been in the space to even attempt anything remotely near opening a box to try and paint something for a very long time, as those who know me very well at the moment will know. So I see stuff like this. I would love to give this a go, even as a complete beginner, even as somebody who's completely new to the hobby. I would love to give something like this a go, but at the same time, it's one of those things. It's like you've got to be in the mood for it. So I don't even know if I'd buy this box set. In fact, the last big thing I bought, I ended up giving to Dee. So it's just like I could buy this if you want, but it just means in 6 months, 9 months time, someone's going to get it as a gift. So.
You should buy it, give it to someone to paint it, to then give it back to you, so it's all painted, so it's all sorted for you, or maybe even just primed, so it's built and primed and ready to just paint.
That's true. Yeah. Then I could just. What was it? What's the quick way of painting?
Slop chop.
Oh, slap
Yeah,
chop.
there you go.
Yeah. Well, it's a legit painting method. It's a fun way
just
of
get
doing it.
a large bath loofah and do the whole thing in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, as long as you're not planning to like a painting competition, I think that's for me, because I'm not a big fan of painting, I think that's a much more fun way of doing stuff, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whatever works for the individual at the end of the day.
As long as you're happy with it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing I'd say, even if you're happy with it, just don't just dunk it in paint and leave it to dry.
I wouldn't be that bad, honestly.
Next up, we have the banner knob, which is the equivalent of the ancient, and a lot more interesting. Again, an orc with a different body size, a distinct look to him, because he's got like a little ponytail. He's wielding an axe. He's got a flag that has multiple little fun symbols on it, from the flag to the actual pole below it, having like 3 extra things in orc language, if I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, Big D, can you read that?
Yeah. Well, they're glyph plates. I can't tell you what they say. I just know what they are. Okay,
because I remember Second Ed, I think somewhere, maybe it was in the Orc Codex, that you could, if you had the Orc Codex, you could probably read that.
Yeah, they had a Orc glyph dictionary.
That's right, yeah. I don't know how up to date that is, if it's still the case or not, but I remember thinking that's neat. He also comes with a little tiny squig as well on his base, right at the front.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if he has the same format. Dee, I don't know if you know this. Are the orc kind of symbols, are they molded, and then the middle where they've got that symbol, is that sort of left bare for people to do their own?
From what I understand, the glyph plates themselves,
are molded?
whilst they're on there, they should be flat. Well, I think that there's that one pole which is black with a red logo in the middle. Okay. I think that might actually be a sculpted bit of detail because it looks more 3D. But they did say that on the banner itself, the glyph plates are sculpted, but they're sculpted plain, so you can use transfers or paint your own logo on. But then the stitched logo in the middle, I think that might be sculpted completely.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like any standard orc symbol that I've seen. The one in the middle, I mean.
I think it might be supposed to denote Armageddon itself.
Oh, okay.
I think. I can't be 100% sure on that one, but that'd be my guess.
Is that why it kind of looks maybe like an M if you kind of squint for Mageddon?
Yeah.
Bit of that, a bit of how the actual land masses of Armageddon look, because it's a weird-ass planet. Yeah.
Bit of a Schrodinger's banner. What do you see when you look at this banner?
I like it. They've got an orc skull on there as well.
Yeah, they're equal opportunities orcs. They'll crump anyone.
Yeah, but teeth.
Is this an older style of orc? Like, because he's clearly he's a lot squatter. As you said, he's a different body shape. Is this a bit of a throwback, or is it just them going in a different direction?
I like to think it's just a bit of diversity of body type with the orc. I don't think it's specifically referencing the shape of older orcs. And he's still obviously running the old hobo look. So the closest you could maybe go is maybe he has a similar body shape to the Gorka Morka plastic, like head recessed or neck recessed kind of thing. But I'm not entirely sure. That just might be he's a pudgy boy or a stout lad compared to the other ones. What do you think, Big D? Do you agree with that, or do you?
I would. I'd agree with that. But
yeah,
he looks he's got that same power that the rest of these resculpts have, but you're right, he does have that slightly throwback-ish punch look to him that's more reminiscent of what we got from the Gorkamorka era. But I kind of dig that he doesn't look out of place.
No.
And I will say that all of these, the big boss, the banner knob, the knobs in the boys that we'll see in a bit, it makes me feel sorry for anyone who's bought a box of plastic knobs, because they must be getting a redo to match these guys, because otherwise they're tiny.
I guess the question is, when will they get it? And it's like, who knows?
Yeah,
that would be the thing.
I imagine it'll be dropping with the codex.
Next up, the doctor's in. It's the Pain Boy with this little snotling, aggretching buddy. I'd say this is maybe my second favorite out of the Pain Boys. My first favorite is, well, maybe it's the third. My first favorite is the 4th edition one, the one with the chainsaw glued onto his arm. My second favorite is like the Rogue Trader one with the pair of big scissors.
Yep.
And by big scissors, Mr. White, I mean like you know, like scissors that you used to cut paper with when you're 3, safety scissors. He's got a giant pair of those in his one hand.
They're definitely not safe, though.
No, they're rusted. But
like large secateurs. And...
Yeah, like something you'd maybe cut, like to open a little ribbon in front of a store to be like, "Welcome, snip."
Oh, nice.
That's why I like that one, because he's very silly and over the top, and like that's not going to be useful. But this would be my third favorite out of the Pain Boys. He's got a little weird pokey finger hands, and he's got this little needle injector grippy gun, I guess.
Yeah, and of course he's got Harold, his assistant,
his bone saw carrier.
Yeah,
I really like this. I like his COVID mask and his abattoir thingy. It's interesting that even on his abattoir getup, you can still see the checker marks underneath it. So that's an interesting choice by the painter. It's almost like they were normal robes that he painted white, just not very well.
Yeah, it's like they've done a faded checkerboard on the end cap of his tank of weird shit. And I was listening to the Pour Hammer guys, and they saw that and went, "Oh, fuck off." It was quite funny, because someone of the painting team really did go to town on all these checkerboards, because they are quite well placed and also wonderfully weathered.
I can't imagine they enjoy. I think they enjoyed painting the orcs, but I can't imagine they enjoyed painting all the checkerboards. There's no way.
Well, there's
no
someone
one can enjoy that.
Or I'm going to go to town on these, because there's some.
Not under that sort of belt bandana harness thing. That would make it really quite awkward to do that front checkerboard on the fabric. Somebody put a lot of effort into that. I have to admit, the first time I saw this, for 1 second, I saw the top image of him. And instead of me seeing an orc with a blue light gem, whatever, above his head, I saw an orc with an Elvis quiff. And I can't not see that now. I also like, and sorry to be a bit political, but he's clearly wearing his COVID mask the way a lot of really dumb people wore COVID masks. So he's spot on there as well.
True.
And the fingers are really disturbing in a nice way. They're just, I think it's the fact that one of the claw's fingers is up just a little bit too much. Vicious.
I mean, he is covered in little details which show that this is a Pain Boy who believes in
self-improvement.
Yes.
DIY improvements.
In the most literal sense, he is a bodybuilder.
Yep.
But he's fantastic. Fun and also bloody scary, because, well, look at him.
How would you rank him compared to other Pain Boys of the past, Big D? Do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I do kind of miss the smile that the current plastic Pain Boy has. Not the Pain Boss, but the other Pain Boy. The one who's kind of holding up a piece of one of his tools and giving it a bit of a grin. I do miss that, because that kind of tells you what you need to know about for Pain Boy. However, this one, he's high. I mean, Pain Boys have had some good minis over the years, but I think this is easily one of the best. So
you get them as this seems to me, the way they presented it here is almost a one-off character. So this version replaces the previous version, which replaces the previous version. But have there ever been sets where you have multiple Pain Boys where they then try and cover different aspects?
I don't think so. I think it's just like you get a Pain Boy and you can just load them out slightly differently, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
You've always been able to take multiple Pain Boys, and depending on the edition, that has sometimes meant you can give them quite, just like mech boys, there were different loadouts available to them that you could do stuff with. I think once upon a time in Rogue Trader, there was a squad of you could take a squad of Pain Boys. But I think it might have been a mixed bunch of Pain Boys and their experiments.
Mm.
And it was one of these units that just got real weird real quick because you had lots of tables for them to roll results.
Oh, yeah, with Rogue Trader, that makes sense. Yeah.
It was Rogue Trader. Yeah, Rogue Trader going to Rogue Trader. But
I guess you wouldn't do that because it would be like the equivalent would be like taking 5 apothecaries, and I mean, I guess you could. I don't think you would, and it wouldn't make sense to, given that they're very specialized.
I mean, technically nowadays you could take 3 Pain Boys and 3 Pain Bosses. And I think if an army's got an option for a medic type character, it's always worth slapping one in if you got the point spare, because they've reached a point now where they work like they're supposed to. Because in previous editions, medics could be a bit wishy-washy. I mean, there was one edition where they improved the save of Imperial Guardsmen. Oh, good! You've given me a bonus to my 5+ armor save. Thanks.
Woo!
Yeah, it didn't really do a lot. Whereas now, in most units, if there's a medic character type model in a unit, come the next command phase, you just roll a dice, get some models back, or heal a character, whichever makes more sense for you.
Yeah.
That's great. And having that option for orcs, who are generally quite tough in the first place, because they may not have the best armor, but they are all generally quite chunky in terms of toughness and wounds. That's never a bad thing.
I do like your idea of having a 5-man kill team of just Pain Boys, though. That sounds quite fun for a very thematic game.
Yeah. In theory, you could technically pick up the Pain Boss, get the current Pain Boy, back down a model. Because there used to be a Mad Dog Grotznick model, which I'm hoping he might be. I'm hoping he'll get an update in plastic soon, because it's been a long time since the Doc's been around.
Well, also as well, this kind of if they've updated Pain Boy, he kind of needs to be his own thing. And then at some point, I imagine, unless he's been rolled out before, at some point we might see this famed Orchimedes.
Yeah. I'll be stunned if they go ahead and pull the trigger on him, because he's been in the lore since 3rd edition.
Oh, that long? Damn.
Third War for Armageddon campaign. Yeah, he was the one who designed all of Gaz's Orky submarines and the teleporters that were in all the rocks that he crashed into Armageddon.
What if he's just literally an old school squat that's painted himself green?
That'd be brilliant.
That would be hilarious. I think they put it in the current book that the Imperial intelligence is now no longer sure if it's a single orc mech boy or lots of them. A collective going by the single name. Which would be funny in itself. You have, this is Orchimedes, and Orchimedes, and Orchimedes, and Orchimedes.
I am Orchimedes. No, I am Orchimedes. There, you got a new t-shirt. There you go. We are Orcomedes. Well, next up we have the Weird Boy, which was kind of spoiled before the box set release. We saw this, I think, a couple of days beforehand. It's an interesting look. He's kind of got a old school, oh god, what do you call them? The stocks kind of look.
Yeah,
your head in the stocks, and then he's just got wires around them.
the yoke that they'd put on people.
Yeah, exactly. But then with a load of cables,
which does work. It sells you on the idea that this guy might have been kind of locked onto a wall somewhere, and now they've just let him loose to go mental, literally.
And there's a lot of very old school electric cabling as well. There's stuff that I recognize from doing shoots in very old buildings, and I'm like, yeah, that's got a feel of some like old fashioned as well, old fashioned fuses. If anyone remembers, like the big kind of ceramic fuses before plug ones, there's a lot of vibes of that. It's crazy that they've used a hell of a lot of electrical stuff. And I know, electrical energy, yes, it all tracks, but they've leaned into that for the psychic, and it works perfectly.
It really does. It gives him a very distinctive silhouette as well, which is always nice. Plus, he's so distinctive, it means that because you kind of have to expect them that they'll do another Weird Boy, because he is another character where if you want to take multiples, it's normally quite a fun idea to do so. So I'd love to see what they do for the multi-part version. I still want to see a version that's, because there used to be a Weird Boy that most of them were kind of stood on their own, but there were back in the day they came with handlers or minders.
Yep,
to keep me in line.
About.
And there was one model which just had the two minders holding the Weird Boy like a gun. He was spewing energy at people.
Wasn't that a named Weird Boy? Or was he just a generic Weird Boy?
It was just a generic Weird Boy. I think they've only had one named Weird Boy, and that was in 2nd edition. I cannot remember for certain, though, because my copy is somewhere around here.
You don't say.
It's time to take a drink, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
One thing I really like about this is they do something which I wish GW would do more with, and that's the idea of not just thinking of a raised base, but have a raised base that then has a drop in it. So the character is not just stood on something, he's almost stood in something. And here there's just a little bit of verticality around his foot on the ground. It almost feels like the model's being allowed to drop down a little further than GW models normally do. And although it's still a rock, aesthetically, it just feels a little bit more involved. It feels a little bit more of a scene almost, because you're kind of framing the figure. I know that's very, very fancy talk, but it's the one thing I always wish that GW would do with more of its bases, is make use of the verticality more than just having a single rock.
Yeah, because what you're almost suggesting is like the rock, he's taking a step and the rock's behind him rather than the rock being off to the side, and the hips are kind of pointed in a different direction, like movement wise. It's almost like he's the leg that we're looking at, which is his right leg, but out on our left leg, his right leg. It looks like that's the forward that's taken a step forward. And he's landed with power with that, and he's got that foot on the rock, kind of like stabilizing him as he's very slowly moving forward, slightly deranged and whatnot. Like you say, it's a lot more dynamic than just he stood on a rock pointing and shouting at someone. It's like he's moving towards you in a very intimidating form, which I like as well.
They've taken this idea as well of adding the detail in effective places. So for a start, whoever it was at GW, you go up to him and go, "So what are you up to today, Bob?" It's like, "Well, I've decided we're going to sculpt the eyes, the literal eyeballs on this thing. We're going to literally go that much into detail, because it looks as though at least one of them has got that detail on it. But the other thing is just the wear and tear on the cables, which is a really simple effect, but that takes a lot of work, and that'll be, I think painters will really enjoy that, because it's just lovely little levels of detail.
Yeah, I hate doing hazard striping, but it really does look lovely how they've done it on this, and all the OSL as well for the power that's coming off it.
And there's
Ooh.
a lot of hazard stripes as well on this.
Mm.
I know. Look, people won't want to rip this model apart, but I have to admit, if you took that, as Andy said, the kind of the yoke thing, the kind of this blocky wooden thing, you ripped it off this model, and you put it on some sort of semi-demon engine thing,
Oh yeah,
almost as it's like the control collar for a demon engine. That would be amazing. I mean, I know scale would be an issue there. You'd have to find the right thing, but it would look good. Or you just take the concept and make your own version of this for something far bigger.
Yeah.
Wrap it around the crab from the item.
Oh, there you go. Robot crabs. It's
the
the
rage
future.
crab. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so the Weird Boy looks really good. Screw the painter, because good luck, unless you are yourself a good painter, good luck getting those eyes looking as good as they do on this. Yep, that's not going to be me. Now we have the boys, Tut Lads, as it were, and these are a lot better than their last attempt of doing standard boys, who could only have, what was it? They could only have, some had shooters, some had choppers, and there was no change. They were locked into those. These ones, you can give them choppers or shooters, so you actually have full squad,
they always have both.
Oh, they always have both. There you go, even better.
Yep. So now it doesn't matter what your boys are armed with on the models. They always have choppers, sluggers, and shooters.
And again, if you compare like these to the Space Marine intercessors, they're kind of like jobber frontline. You're going to have loads and loads of them, and were generic and didn't really have any character. These have a load of character.
Between all of character.
Mm. Yeah, it's once again, you kind of put them side by side with the Space Marines, and you go, one was loved, one was an afterthought, and these were not the afterthought. These are really good.
And because there are two mobs of them, they get to show off how all the different heads work in combination with different bodies and whatnot. And I don't know if I'd want more than 20 of these boys, but it looks like there's going to be plenty of options to mess around with if you want to try and have more.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, these are just oozing character.
Yeah.
If you just wanted to have, like, pad out your existing orc horde and just have this as, like, your Ard boys, the guys who aren't quite knobs yet, but they're still the boss's hard right hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd look spot on. And I do like how the knobs are now on 40mm bases.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Again, like you said previously, for the up to the 50mm one for the war boss, it just gives them more space to play with. So I guess he's on the same base size now as the big boss, right? I'm guessing the big boss.
Yeah, I think all the Weird Boy, I think, is on another 50mm base.
That makes sense. Yeah, with the size of his like impact area.
I think the boss, the big boss, and the banner knob, they're both on 40mm by the looks of it. So that makes sense if that's what they're going for the orc knobs, as like a way to better differentiate them from the rest of the boys. That makes a lot of sense. So I can't wait to see what they do for a full mob of knobs, though, because if this is a indication, they're gonna look pretty special.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of the set of Tut Lads, Mr. White? Do you like them?
I think they're really, really nice. I think, especially on the page that you've got there, our guy with the jaw, which just looks really good on him. He looks like an evil Santa Claus. I think they're kind of leaning very heavily into the bonus squig wherever you can. You know, it's almost becoming a bit of a cliche. People will be just snapping all of these off and collecting them like Pokemon. But all of them, they've added character to all of them. All of them have something that they've taken from a previous battle, or something that they've jury-rigged to work a certain way. It's one of those things that, congratulations, GW, you've updated this line. They needed it. You've now made the other Xenos that have stuff outstanding for donkey's years feel even worse. So congrats, you'll take the applause for this, but you need to start looking at those other races. But yeah, this stuff is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm sure Orc players will be just eating so well from this.
It is weird to see the Orcs. I mean, it's nice, but the last update wasn't that long ago, but granted, it was more for effectively a new chapter with the Beast Snaggers, which I wasn't a huge fan of the Beast Snaggers. These are more the standard Orcs that you need.
Yeah.
I mean, they did do an updated boys mob as well,
which has now been supplanted, and now you can throw that away.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Although it did make me laugh that they had that boys mob, but they still had the previous one available as well.
Yeah.
So technically, at the moment, there's going to be a point where you can buy 3 separate plastic boys mobs.
Orcs are eating pretty well. What are Orcs missing then in terms of updated things that need to get done?
If you count for
new killer cans?
Oh, if only.
Killer cans and death dreads, I don't know if they will, though, because
they're still nice looking, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only real knocking for death dread is the legs are quite static, and they can't really do much with them because of the era they were made in. But they do kind of work next to, as we'll get to in a little bit, for Big Mech and his gun rig. The classic Orc buggy would be nice to see it make a comeback.
Okay.
The funny thing is, the Orc line, really, it needs things like, so the Storm Boys could do with an update. The Burner Boys, and I can't remember what they. Oh, they're also the Looter kit, so they could probably do with an update because I think they're about 15, 16 years old now, if not longer. In fairness, the Flash kits might be worth a look, but I'm not sure if they could probably do just being more dynamic than anything.
Okay,
because they're all kind of wielding these massive flash guns, and it's like, but they're not very piratey, are they?
So there are a few that need updating, but not a huge amount, right?
No, I mean this we'll get to a couple of other things in this list that give indications of where they might be going. But in fairness, I mean things like the Orc Warbike trio, that kit, sure, it's probably one of the older ones that's currently available for the Orcs, but it still looks bloody good. So some of it is just a case of needing a bit of a refresh, which we know GW have done from time to time. They've taken an older kit and retooled it and given it a bit of a spruce up. It's what they did with a lot of the Imperial Guard tanks in the mid-2000s. So we've seen them do it before. So it's just, will they, won't they? Who knows?
But we got the Gretchen next. Small little lads that they be. Again, for effectively a chaff unit, these have a load of character to them. Again.
Yeah. I'm quite surprised we're only getting 10 of them in this box. I would have thought we would have gotten 20. Just because you normally have lots of grots if they put them in a box. So
yeah, that is odd. I wonder why that is that they're giving you so few. I wonder how these would be sold as well. Do you sell them as like a box of 30 for like £20 or something? Because there's not much of a model to them.
I mean, the current runt herd comes with 10 grots and a runt herd. So, I mean, I've seen some folks wonder if, because these guys don't come with a runt herd, will that mean that kit and the runt herd gets legended? I suspect because these are specifically called Gretchen, and they do look distinct from the grots you get in a lot of other kits at the moment, I'd not be surprised if they just put these in as a whole new entry, and you keep the runt herds as
you think they'll be pulling them back to their second ed-ish version of what a Gretchen was?
Possibly. I would not be surprised if that was the case.
Well, then that's even stranger that you only get 10, because obviously in second ed you got loads of them. Granted, they were shit, but you got loads of them to die for you.
Yeah,
but they're nice. They look great. Very good again.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they've used. It's almost like they've lent into the character of the weapons that they're holding to help develop each individual Gretchen characters. So there's a lot of detail on those weapons, and they've clearly put a lot of love into them. So yeah, it's nice. Like each weapon has some sort of banding around it or some sort of fix, and the magazine has the bullets visible, which must be a nightmare to paint. And when they've got little daggers, they're really heavily worn and really chipped away. So yeah, it's all good. Though I imagine if they're all going in a charge, at least a couple of them die by someone behind them falling over and stabbing them to death with the top of their helmet.
Yeah, I can see that. Or
Yeah.
shooting them, I suppose.
Or
That could
shooting them,
happen.
yeah.
And sometimes that's even been done intentionally.
Lovely.
All right.
Lovely though.
Now a classic has been brought back, the war truck. Track?
Yeah, baby.
Track.
I missed the war track.
Was the last one from Gorka Morka?
Well, it actually wasn't made for Gorka Morka. It was actually released in 2nd edition 40k.
But it's that one. That was the last war track.
It's that one. They kept it around for a long old time.
Yeah.
It got some metal upgrade in Gorka Morka, and then translated over to the main line. And I think war tracks have been out of the game for got to be at least a decade now.
Oh wow! So they weren't even usable.
No, not even Legends.
Oh geez. Okay.
Well, they got rid of war tracks, Scorchers, and war buggies around the same time. A lot of folks were kind of hopeful when they did the modern range of Orc buggies and trucks. You know, the special ones they did for that Speed Freaks game, and then put into the main book. But that might have seen a return of war tracks and the default buggy, whereas instead they just kept these specialty ones around all the time. But having the war track in this box, one, war tracks have generally been lethally effective against Space Marines.
Really?
In my experience, yeah. War tracks with the rocket launchers. It's the old thing. A 1 in a million shot will hit 99 times out of 100. And Orc rocket launchers, most of the time, they shouldn't be as accurate as they are. They can be lethally accurate.
Okay.
I mean, the fact that you used to be able to run them in squadrons of 3, and either rockets or big shooters. Bad memories of those times.
I think it's worth mentioning that they're taking the design from Wurzag. Is it Wurzag, the new biker character?
Yeah, Wazdacker Gutsmech.
Wazdacker. They've taken the front of his bike, the little bits around the wheels, the spiky parts, and they've transferred them over to this bike as well. So I guess that's a feature now of Speed Bike to kind of try and tie them together, which is a nice idea.
I mean, I love that the rider is very much in the same pose as the classic war track rider.
Yeah.
Hunched over, head down, arms out wide, big old grin, cold scuttle helmet, goggles over it, and just having the best time of his life.
How do you feel about this, Mr. White? Do you like? Would you like a ride?
Yeah, it's like I mean, I saw during the presentation they brought out the old war track, and the size difference is quite impressive. It is. It's a really nice model. The only thing I would say is that, I mean, I don't think there wouldn't be a way for you to get a lot of movement out of it without having it on its side or look as though it's turning. So because it's so big and chunky, it doesn't feel like it has a lot of speed in the design. It just looks as though it's almost like a slower vehicle, that it's kind of partway to a tank that just has a motorcycle frame bolted to the front of it. But it is really nice. Again, it's one of those, I think it'd be interesting to see what people make of this. And I'm sure there'll be at least a couple of people that have models of this where maybe 1 or 2 of the missiles are firing, and so you have their version of the bubble gum being used as the sort of smoke of the missiles coming out. But no, it looks really good, and I'm sure there'll be some really sort of day glow paint versions of this, you know, as people take it to an extreme. And it's interesting as well. They've just got the little bit of red. It's almost like they're paying homage to the speed element, but they're just sort of doing just enough to curry favor with Gorka Morka. You know, they're just adding a little bit of red, not too much. Which is
Would
nice.
you have a better sense of speed if maybe you lifted the front wheel up off the ground and tilted it back a little bit?
Maybe, but I think if there were wheels on the back, then yes. But because you've got the tank treads, it might seem a bit odd. Trust me, it's one of those things. I think you would struggle to get this in many other positions anyway, just because of what it's meant to be. You know, this kind of big bulking mess. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how people adapt this. I actually think as well they might. Like, if somebody puts more banners on the back of this, that could be really impressive. Because you've got this big space anyway. You might as well have more than just a little flag.
Yeah. I mean, I actually really fancy trying to get some of these into real weird, crazy ass poses and get as much movement across as possible. So that's a challenge accepted, I think, there, mate, because I had it with the ATV, the go-kart for the Marines. That thing doesn't look very mobile. I had to play around with one, and just by tweaking the wheels, the front wheels, so that they were turned.
Yep.
That did so much to add a sense of movement to the vehicle. So, yeah, these I'd love to try and have them sort of like posed in like they're sliding around or they're crashing down from a jump or something. Just do as much crazy stuff as possible with them. Yeah.
And the last of the box set is the Big Mech Dakar rig.
Yeah.
Dakar rig, which feels almost like an old homage to the Imperial Walker that we had for the Space Marine, for the Imperial Guard, or the Eldar Walker, where the driver was very.
The old Sentinel and the War Walker.
Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. But it makes more sense with the Orcs because they're dumb, so they think, why would I need armor on this giant thing that I'm on? How do you think it's turned out, Big D?
I think it's daft, and I love it. It's just so. The thing is, Orcs, you don't want understated, especially when you're talking about a mech boy in his next invention, and this is just a mech boy who got the biggest gun he could and just thought, well, how am I going to get this to the battlefield now? And just stuck it on a pair of walker legs.
Yeah, it's got a good solid look to it. I like how it almost looks like the gun is its nose and the panels behind there, its eyes and whatnot. They've turned it into a really good walking face. It'll fit in really well with the Death Dread and the Killer Cans, I think, next to each other.
Oh, absolutely. I dig the dual ammo feeds as well, and the fact that it actually makes sense. One goes above, one goes below.
Yeah. Do you imagine that barrel rotates as well as it fires?
Yeah, so it's a minigun that's getting twice the ammunition feeds, which should scare everyone, frankly, because that's not how they're supposed to work. But Orcs be Orcs.
I would like on the base, like a Gretchen or a Grot with a casing that's killed it.
Yeah, that'll do.
You know, it'd be quite funny as well. Have another Grot that's got an upturned helmet that's just catching the spent shell casings.
It's got a little basket or something. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Actually, you can imagine a swarm of them just around the back of the machine, sort of like either making it work or just oiling stuff or just willing it on. And it does look really nice as well from the back. It's like there's a lot of bolted together tech, and it feels like different generations of tech. So you've got some advanced stuff there, but you've also got some real basic stuff that they've just shoved together.
Yeah, it's the orkiest Orc machine to Orcs to date, isn't it?
It's not a mech boy driving it, though, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to check before I said this because I didn't want to look silly. I'd say that I'd wish that the mech boy was more mech boy-y. He just looked like a normal knob.
Yeah, I have to admit, I thought it was a regular knob that was in the seat.
If it wasn't for...
Go on.
It's only really his bionic eye that makes him look mech boyish in any way, isn't it? Everything else is kind of.
I think we could up his mech boyness somehow. I don't know how exactly, but he needs to be more robotized. Otherwise, I'm like, it would be like a Mechanicus guy only having a mechanical eye. You'd be like, well, he's not Mechanicus. He's missing loads of gubbins on him.
Or completely human, but just holding a zip drive.
And iron hands with only his finger made out of iron.
That'd be hilarious. He'd be ostracized.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't like him at all.
I mean, this guy, maybe if he had in one arm, he was swinging with a giant wrench, which is what all mech boys seem to use as their melee weapons, it seems. That could be. Yeah.
Make his arm a giant wrench. Make him have like no legs and he's just got wheels for legs, and that's why he's made this as well, to get around.
Yeah,
or just have out as a shopping cart and then turned into this.
Or just have him wired straight into the seat. He hasn't no legs at all. He's just wired in.
Yeah, that could work as well. Yeah.
I just realized, just like a shopping cart, one of the legs isn't as efficient as the other, so he actually ends up going around mostly in circles most of the time.
Yeah, I think that would be my only real criticism. I'd just like him to be more of a mech boy.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like I said, I think this is going to fit in perfectly with the rest of the bigger kind of mechanical robot dudes that the team have. And it looks... I wonder how this will look next to the Sentinel, the Imperial Guard Sentinel. It'll make the Imperial Guard Sentinel look very under-armored, I feel.
It will. Even that commander of my build recently will feel a little inadequate next to it.
Yeah, because it's got like 6 missiles underslung from its mouth.
In fact, I think this thing might be slightly bigger than a Redemptor Dreadnought as well, in fairness.
Oh, really? Okay.
It is quite beefy. Maybe not as wide in terms of the arms, but certainly I think it's going to have a little bit of height on the Redemptor.
Oh, wow. I wonder how tall it's going to look next to the Gorkanauk.
Oh.
Because the Gorkanauk's a reasonably big model, but how far is it going to come up to it? Maybe up to its arm, I would guess.
Yeah, could do.
Which is, again, still pretty big.
Yeah, annoyingly, there's no side-by-side pictures of this, the Dakar rig next to a Gorkanaut.
I think during the presentation, they did pull out a few models and quickly show it with just what they had to hand for comparison.
Yeah, they had it. They had it next to a Killer Can and a Death Dread, and it towers over both of those quite significantly.
Towers over them, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's about a third taller than the Death Dread.
Oh.
I know it sounds odd, but there's an element of this that reminds me of the Walking Keep that came out recently.
I see that.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the feet?
It might be, yeah. It was. I thought that, and then I thought as well, I'd love to see the moment where one of these, as part of an orc army, matched off against some Grey Knights, and you had their baby carrier, all sleek and pristine, and barely any armor, and kind of useless, and then you've got this thing, which is just the polar opposite.
You know what's really sad? This looks more competent, coherent, and intelligently designed than the baby carrier.
Sadly it does.
Like, you look at this and say, yes, I see why you made this. This makes sense. It's very silly, but it makes sense. But you look at the baby carrier and you're like, I don't know what you're doing.
Even an orc wouldn't trust that.
No.
Yeah. No. And the Dreadnought's even worse because it's a Terminator piloting it, which is technically the best protection anyone can have. And yet, the question is asked, why are you not behind thicker armor, you idiot?
Scared.
You're safer in a penitent engine.
I mean, you're not a million miles away, in fairness.
But good way to end the orcs.
Yeah, that's the orcs. Yeah, as usual, my only issue is you only have hobo orcs, so there's no real different factions. Like you obviously get upgrade parts to make Space Wolves and Blood Angels and Dark Angels and stuff like that. But with the orcs, you just have the orcs and you've got to paint them in their different colors. It's a shame. I get it. We're not going to have the silly moon hats from the second edition or anything too crazy like that, which I think is a bit of a shame. But this is a great update to the range. And my favorite picture is the Bad Moves one with the Gorkanaut and the mech boys who are actually mechanical. In there, everything looks really good here. It's a really stellar little set. Like if you were telling me you were just buying this box for the Orcs, I'd be like, I get it. If you tell me you're buying it just for the Space Marines, I'm gonna be a little bit confused, but I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. Someone's gonna be happy when you sell them the Orcs.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is, for Space Marines is a solid starting point for an army. That's because it does cover a lot of base. You get a nice core of characters. You've got 10 intercessors. Vanguards is a nice killy assault unit. The Eradicators, sure, and the Land Speeder is a nice bit of speed added in. That's a good place for a lot. For a new player, that's actually a really good starting point for a Space Marine army. But it is massively unexciting compared to the Orcs.
Yeah,
the Orcs are the main event of this box. They are so well.
They're so realized. Yeah, that's the best word for it. They're well realized and really well executed. I guess the question I have for the both of you: how do you think this stacks up against Leviathan, the previous edition box? That was the previous one, right?
Ooh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay. Because I would say for the Space Marine side, that was better. Purely because you got the reintroduction of the Terminators. So from that aspect alone, you had something where you went, oh wow, ooh, okay, wow, yeah, wow, okay. You had the Librarian and Terminator armor as well.
Yep,
that was a big thing.
Yeah, the Captain Terminator armor, that was good. That Lieutenant, who by all accounts has become a bit of a always seen in most armies nowadays, the blown up Lieutenant. Fun idea. I've seen a lot of folks who want to try and do him so he's not just covered in nidbits. But yeah, the Leviathan Marines, I think, were a more interesting set. However, I don't think it might sound a little weird. I think Armageddon is a more balanced starting point compared to what you got in Leviathan.
Do you mean for the Space Marines, or do you just mean as a two armies thing? They're both.
I'll probably say for both armies. In fairness,
okay.
Leviathan is a good set. It had some cracking minis. I think what's the Flamer got? The guys for Flamers was a interesting choice to go, but Sternguard were nice to have them back as well.
Yeah, they were nice.
Yeah, the Nids was nice because it kind of pushed the range into that refresh of a couple of bits that had been languishing for a while. And it gave you a different take on the Hive Tyrant in the Nero Tyrant.
Yeah.
Brought back the Screamer Killer, which I'm still a big fan of them doing, so fair play for that. And it did lead to a nice refresh of the line. But it was a Nid army, and you started off with like 20 plus termagants, which aren't terribly exciting to have to work through. And I know we're talking about a set that has 20 Orc boys, but these Orc boys look a damn sight more interesting to do stuff with.
Yeah, 100%.
You can make them, if you want, you can make them all individual as you like. In fact, you're encouraged to because they're Orcs. Nids, you can't do it. You have to kind of paint them really kind of all the same because they're Tyranids. They don't have individuality. So,
I mean, the one I'd say, although they were nice, I think it was the Infernus squad, wasn't it? The Flamers.
Yes, yeah, the Flamers, yeah.
They were very much. Most of them were very, very similar. In fact, it felt like there were a couple of molds, and it was just 2 or 3 versions of that. But that was probably the only one out of that set where that was the planar unit, and the other units, as you say as well, they all had something. And the fact is, you had that nice apothecary as well. That was kind of cool. But yeah, I think here, I mean, let's face it, this set was as soon as people said as well where it was going to be, and the fact it was Orcs, you were kind of expecting Orcs to steal the headline here anyway. And even as a GW sculptor as well, you can't. There's only so far you can push Space Marines when they are so focused on what Space Marines are being sold. It's you could do what you want, but a lot of it is going to be down to marketing. Whereas with the orcs, you kind of got free reign, and even if you do something batshit crazy, well, it's an orc, so it's technically all canon for them. So, it's So I think they've done well. They've taken, I think, with this set, they've taken their wins in the areas that they know they were going to get them, which is Orky Boy.
Yeah, that's fair. And I do think overall this is a decently put together package of stuff that you're getting. If you include the rules in that as well, all the paper stuff, I think it's not perhaps the best new entry point because it is missing things like dice and a measuring tool, but we know that they will do that because they've got a pattern now. They have the free starter boxes that come out after the launch box, so we know that'll be coming. But the choice to move core rules into a softback, so welcome.
The only thing they're missing in terms of like models or stuff is just a large unidentified mound of rock with a little sign that says Vulcan is sleeping under here, do not disturb.
That is kind of true. He was last seen on, well, technically it was Eleanor at the time, but still.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of people believe he's doing a bit of the lion and he's just having sleepy time. Oh. However, considering how much the lion has actually done since he's been back, I'm not that bothered about another Primarch coming back for a while. I like the ones that are still up and about to do something first.
Yeah,
I mean, getting off topic here. Sorry,
that's fine. He and Bobby are supposed to have a chat sometime soon. So, and honestly, if GW aren't going to write it, I'm in the process of working out a version of my own. So
there you go.
All right, have we finished with our coverage of the Armageddon box reveal set, guys?
I think we're good.
I think so. I think we've just had a very decent natter about that.
I think so.
I think it's been thoroughly enjoyable, though.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Really enjoyed it.
Well, where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
Ooh,
I don't want to be found, so I'll leave it up to you, D.
Oh. Well, I am everywhere as David Kelly. You can't really miss me because it looks like a weirdy beardy image. It'll be one of those and lots of wargaming or movie news. I contribute from time to time to uganime.net, most recently for a review of Akira's return to cinemas. With our own Mr. Gruff, I'm his loyal minion in the Deeper Dives, where we dive deep and long and hard into articles of White Dwarfs from years gone by, which is always good fun. And then with Mr. White, we do Fluffenbusters, where we find a film, we talk over it for runtime, do a nice little film commentary, normally find some information one of us hasn't heard before, and just have a chat about the film, what it means, our thoughts, its development, that sort of thing. Just see where it goes. Good time. We've been doing it, nearly 2 years now?
Yeah, I suppose on and off. I mean, started on obviously the Fluffenhammer, and then I think 7-8 months ago we started on our own channel. And yeah, we're getting there. I think our 19th video goes out this Friday. So
wow,
we're getting there. We're building up a library, whether we like it or not.
It's been a fun time, and as Mr. White knows, I'm terribly grateful that he asked me to do it with him. So if that's of interest to him, please pop on over and have a listen. I'm sure there'll be something for you to enjoy. So you've been listening to us for the last 3 hours. So
yeah.
Now, Andy, where can people uncover the decayed one?
No, you must keep me covered. I must always be clothed, especially during summer. Never shall I be seen. But I will be seen on the internet, on Twitter and YouTube as Decayed Andy. I'm also on the Moonbase 2 podcast where I talk about Transformers each and every week, sometimes with Big D.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's again on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast. And of course, you can find all of the other things for the Fluffenhammer on the Facebook page, on the I don't know the other links that Griff has for the Fluffenhammer, but they're in those. You type in the Fluffenhammer, you will find stuff about us. There,
you know where it is, folks. If you've listened this long, you know where it is.
And you can support them on Patreon as well. By them, I mean the Fluffenhammer people like Gruff, and he would very much appreciate it. I don't remember the link, but I'm sure they are on Patreon, so you can properly find them there and help out.
If you go to their Facebook or YouTube, there's a link to their Patreon there.
Yeah, I don't think Gruff promotes it enough, so I'm going to do it very badly there. That'll do.
Don't worry, he does it really badly on his show. And I've told him that many a time.
Yeah, my excuses, I don't know it. Anyway, thanks very much for coming on by, you two. Thank you very much for joining me talking tonight.
Thank you so much.
I don't know when we'll be back, but we'll be back for the Fluffenhammer at some point in the future. I don't know if it'll be for Warhammer thingy or if we're going to be talking about Bluebird toys next. I can't remember. All depends on what happens with GW and with people's free time in the future. But hopefully we'll catch you next time. And we'll see you later, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. And we're done.